Like a death grip on the engagement ring. Mark Dykton, I'm sure you can relate to that. I can picture exactly where I try to keep mine in the days leading up to my half-ass attempt to get on a knee. James Boyd, is that how you're feeling with your passport right now?
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I have it right now. I was looking at it last night. I was packing a little bit. I got to finish up when I get off the show. But I was looking at it, and I was like, this is a sign. You need to put this in your backpack immediately. I also have the Europe charger adapter because
sure.
they have
I still have mine from 2016.
Yeah, they have the different outlets. So let me grab that as well. Yeah. So I will say I'm pretty responsible. So I knew exactly where everything was. I wasn't freaking out about, can I find this? But I definitely was freaking out a little bit saying, put this in your backpack, because the last thing you want to do is get to the airport and not have that thing.
See, I wouldn't even trust myself to have it in the book bag right now. I would literally have it on the desk. I would want to look at it.
Wear it around your neck like a high school lanyard or something.
If I could, I would. I'm telling you, man.
My credentials, my passport. You have to stamp it off my neck. James Boyd off to Germany later today. The Colts off to Germany later today, coming up. 13 hours. Colts will take off 8 o'clock tonight. They'll have as normal of a Thursday as possible. We'll see if Sauce Gardner meets the media for the first time. Concussion protocol for him, although he was a full participant in a non-contact jersey. Apologize for the double negatives. Have you ever found a way to say that easily? Every time I type it out, I struggle with it.
I say regular jersey, and then I explain that it means that he can take a bit of contact in practice. But it does take a few more words to fully explain. So for those listening, when you're in the concussion protocol, sometimes you have to wear a red jersey, which means no one can really hit you. It's like a quarterback jersey. And that's a sign that you're in the earlier stages of the concussion protocol, whereas he went out there yesterday with a regular jersey, meaning that he's passed through the non-contact phase, and he's advanced through the protocol just fine, and assuming he doesn't have any setbacks, he should be available for Sunday to make his debut for the Colts against the Falcons in Berlin.
And that's why you write for the New York Times and I write for a radio website.
No, don't do
that's
that.
That's the voice of James Boyd. I'm Kevin Bowen. Mark Dykton is across the way. Everything good with Jeff from a health update. I know he shared yesterday late in the show he was going to see his cardiologist for a health update, but Family Matters got him out today. He will be back coming up tomorrow, and the conversation on this Thursday morning certainly will center around a lot of Sauce Gardner and the reaction to that yesterday, but I think a loss that is fair to say was a bad loss inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse last night. Given the personnel for the Pacers right now, it is hard to label anything a bad loss, but that was a battle of teams that had similar talent, frankly, especially when Cam Thomas exited 6 minutes into the game, and it is amazing, gentlemen, that we have a 1-7. We just had a 7-1 NFL team, and now we have a 1-7 NBA team in our market.
I know.
Imagine telling someone that back in June.
I know. It's rough. It's rough right now. Outscored in the fourth quarter, 32-20, after scoring 41 in the second quarter. I'm like, okay, there's that Pacers offense we have been looking for, but in the end, they falter. And I got to say, man, I'm looking after these losses at the old, NBA draft rankings or scouting reports just to see, who might be Halliburton's new franchise co-star in the upcoming draft, because, I mean, it's rough. It's tough sledding right now. They lost to a bad team. That's what goes through my head.
Unbelievable.
I'm serious, man. It's rough, and Rick Carlisle got tossed.
Game 7, and now Mark Dykton is playing that sounder.
I know.
On November 6th. That's how bad it was yesterday, though.
I know.
That was a bad loss. Rick Carlisle gets a heave-ho very early. It was so early into the third quarter he got tossed. Tyrese Halliburton wasn't at his seat yet.
Yeah.
One of the better moments of the game last night was Rick Carlisle walking back through the tunnel to hit the showers, and Tyrese Halliburton coming out of the tunnel. And you could tell Tyrese was kind of like, wait, what? What's going on here? Why are you coming back this way? I thought the third quarter just started here. Mark Dykton, if you have some audio at some point today, we might have to get an explanation on Rick Carlisle's ejection.
It was time to, get the out of there.
I will say this, too, and I know this is not a huge
Just to clear
deal.
up, that's not a live audio.
No,
was me asking Rick a few years ago about what he does when he gets tossed. How does he consume the game from the rest of the bowels of Gainbridge Fieldhouse?
Yo, I've given Pascal Siakam his flowers time and time again. But, boy, he is shooting 58% from the free throw line this year, a career low. Like, what happened? His free throw shot is broken.
I feel like it was like that last year a bit. Was it not?
I know. I think it got like that late in the season. But if you look at the numbers, last year he shot 73% from the free throw line in the regular season. Let me look at the playoffs. Maybe that's when it took a dip. It did. The playoffs last year, or actually no. Last year in the playoffs, he was 71% free throw line. Year before, 62%. Like, that to me, I know it's a small thing. They don't have any bodies, whatever. But, boy, it twists the knife a little bit seeing him miss free throws.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, right now, the offense is just it's a mess. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. You have had to give guys more responsibility, and largely across the board, and let me throw in the word understandably, they're all crippling with it. And I mean, you're not bumping guys up one on the depth chart. Like, next man up. This is not your right guard's out for Sunday, and here comes your backup. No. You're telling Jarris Walker, hey, man, go from being like our seventh dude. Hell, Jarris was probably never even the seventh dude in the NBA. He's probably what? He was the 9th guy, 10th guy on your finals team last year, and now he's your 3rd guy. I mean, it's just – now, again, last night to me, and Ben Shepherd, I thought, said it really well after the game, and Ben Shepherd and Jay Huff were probably the only 2 guys that I thought you would label as playing well last night. I just thought they frankly got out-hustled in some key moments, and that I think is disappointing because that falls in the effort category. That's not asking, Neesmith to score 24 on 50% shooting or something like that. So – out west now for the Pacers. They will have a back-to-back Denver Golden State. It doesn't get any easier. I'm not ready to play the sounder that Mark played, but I understand why there are some fans that are there. And again, it doesn't sound like the Nembhard-Mathurin returns are imminent by any means.
No, and to add insult to injury, no pun intended, I believe before yesterday's game, Rick Carlisle said that Johnny Furphy and Quentin Jackson will be out for an extended period of time, did not provide a timeline for when they could return. So you're down 2 more guys who were in your rotation.
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing for the Pacers right now. So it's the worst start in my lifetime for the Pacers. That is a 1-7 beginning of the season. Again, they will be out west for a 4-game trip upcoming.
When were you born?
I was born in 89.
So wasn't that the same year that they went
0-9? 88-89 was the last time. So I was born in September of 89, so that would have been the year prior on that. Yeah. Do you think I'm older than I am?
No, I was just thinking about how that
Are you judging a hair transplant at my age?
Well, I told you I think it's fraudulent because, you talk about, I see the commercials and I come in here, you have a hat on. So I don't know if that's the best advertisement. I want to see the locks when I walk in this office.
Let it flow, baby.
I got such a bad bedhead.
Well, God forbid you take a shower in the morning. God forbid you look a little nice for us.
Mark, shut the hell up.
That was so rude.
Thursday Night Football tonight, Broncos and Raiders. Colts fans want to be Raiders fans tonight as you try and get the 1 seed.
That is some desperate fandom there.
Am I wrong, though?
No, you're not wrong. I'm just saying, boy, you are getting a little greedy.
Well, Thursday Night Football, man. Weird things happen. Shout out to the Ball State Cardinals. Chirp, chirp. I watched a little action, flipped over that last night.
Evan Sherrill, still bowl possible.
It was.
Our YouTube chat.
ESPN popped up the graphic 4-0 in Muncie for the first time, I think, since 2013. So shout out to Coach U and the Cardinals there for that W. We'll get to college basketball. Darren DeVries and company. The debut last night. We said yesterday they'll share it and they'll shoot it. And they did exactly that in numbers that you really didn't sniff often at all in the Mike Woodson era. And a reminder on IU, they will now have Marquette Sunday. So they quickly get into the real competition. Not that this is the same Marquette as maybe older Shaka Smart teams. Picked to finish middle of the pack of the Big East. Lost their top 3 scores from last year. But still, United Center coming up on Sunday for them. And Butler all over Southern Indiana last night. James, you and I went to a practice about a month or 2 ago, and I walked out of that gym saying, Michael Ajayi, that dude has got a body on him that would belong in the NBA. Hell, that body would belong in the NFL right now. He was an absolute load last night for Butler. If Butler is going to be sniffing that 68 team, that's an all Big East guy that has to happen there, and he was outstanding for Butler last night as they get their season opening win over there at Hinkle.
Absolutely. I mean, That's why you get a guy like that in the transfer portal. He's played a lot of big games, played for
Gonzaga, I think, and then Pepperdine maybe was his initial start, right?
But anytime you play Gonzaga, I don't care what role you have, that is a program that wins at an elite level. So hopefully he can bring some of those winning ways here to Indiana.
A lot to get to on Sauce Gardner and his arrival yesterday. He was a full participant at Colts practice. The injury report had some names on it, though. To note, we'll get into that. Touch on the Atlanta Falcons. The Colts do play a game on Sunday after that trade this week. It seems like that's kind of on the back burner. And James is off to Germany later today. We'll chat about it all. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Mark Dykton here on a Thursday. Lot to get to on the morning checkdown. Wearing jersey number 1 out on the practice field yesterday. Josh Downs wouldn't reveal quite the financial transaction that took place between the two, but it was Sauce Gardner, a full participant in his bright green shoes out there as he tries to progress through concussion protocol. And yes, if he does that, which I think the expectation is, he will play Sunday in Berlin. Shane Steichen yesterday trying to hide his emotions on the skill set of one Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, I think his coverage is elite. I think the way he covers receivers one-on-ones, how tight he is in coverage, how aggressive he is. He's long. I mean, he's 6'3", and he can change directions, get on receivers like crazy. So obviously going against them over the years and then now to get him here, like I said, just an elite player that we got.
James, anything Sauce Gardner related from yesterday? Again, we didn't hear from him. NFL rules mandate when you're in concussion protocol, you don't meet the media. We'll see if he chats today. He was in the locker room. I was struck by his pure height, frankly. That was something that stood out to me. I kind of forgot he was 6'3". What, if anything, stand out to you from chatting with people?
Well, first off, what stood out to me was scrolling through the NFL Twitter timeline last night and seeing that, oh, wait a second, there's Kevin Bowen. Got reposted by the big league and had a highlight there.
Yeah, I think that might be the first. And Sauce Gardner gave me the retweet. I didn't even tag the man.
Nice.
I'm
well, we also had.
Do we have the golf little magnetic connection already here?
Well, I will say he might like you a little more than Joey Erickson because Joey Erickson also posted a clip. You posted a clip of him catching one of these passes in their DB drills, and then Joel posted one where he did not catch the pass. And so you can imagine how the New York Jets media took that. But I'll get back to a more serious point. I think one of the things that stood out talking to Alec Pierce was how much he said Sauce would embrace sort of the pressure in the moment of joining a team that's 7-2 and knowing the stakes that he's now been thrown into and what they gave up to get him and how that'll bring the best out of him. So we'll see if that comes to fruition as soon as Sunday, but it sounds like he really relishes those moments to kind of have all the pressure on his shoulders. And honestly, as a cornerback, you need to be wired like that already. And then as a great cornerback, which he has been early in his career so far, it has to be to a different level.
A couple names to note on the injury report. Again, Sauce was full participant. DeForest Buckner didn't practice due to a neck. Anytime I see neck, I just get a little nervous.
Yeah.
It's Buckner. That makes me not nervous. But, again, just something to keep an eye on. Michael Pittman Jr., he was out there catching passes. He wasn't practicing. Glute. Now, is that your butt?
Yeah, I think they don't want to put booty on the actual injury report, but.
Well, if they want to get a bunch of kids snickering, they would put that on there, and all of a sudden it'd be the funniest thing those kids have ever seen.
Put yams on
and
there.
And change Michael Pittman's jersey number to 6'7". And then
what's
all
the
of a sudden,
booty call? Yeah.
Everybody dying laughing. Colts Falcons, about a touchdown favorite coming up. Again, locally, Fox 59. NFL Network, Fox 59 for this 9:30 kick coming up. Obviously, our airwaves will have your coverage. All right, last night inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse, I think it's fine to label it a bad loss. I know the personnel is the personnel, but the Nets are, can I say booty if we're on those lines? I think that's fair to say.
Cheeks, as the kids say.
There you go.
Lord.
Thank you, Mark, for that. 112-103, offensive issues abound. I mean, they had certainly chances throughout that game. If you want to go to positives, I thought Ben Shepherd and Jay Huff gave you some decent minutes there, but it is now the worst start for the franchise in 37 years. They are off to the West Coast, and Rick Carlisle's night ended early, about 5 seconds into the third quarter. Basically what happened is the Pacers are inbounding the ball to start the third quarter. I think it was Michael Porter Jr. is kind of picking up full court. One of those kind of, T.J. McConnell inbound moments there of like, did he steal it? Did he not? Knock the ball out of bounds. And the woman official, I forget her name, she didn't really make a very demonstrative call on whose ball it was. And next thing you know, the Nets are inbounding it. And next thing you know, Michael Porter Jr. is hitting a three in front of the Pacers bench. And next thing you know, Rick Carlisle's on the floor. And he's not getting off the floor anytime soon. So 5 seconds in the third quarter.
I want to see the faces of those guys.
Rick Carlisle tossed. That was not his audio from last night.
It was time to, get the out of there.
Pacers off to the West Coast. Golden State, Denver coming up in a back-to-back. I think it goes Denver, then Golden State this weekend.
No disrespect to Rats.
I guess he could have gone, outside and
I've got a lot of Rick Carlisle, if you can't tell.
hung out with the Rats after last night. College basketball. Indiana, their debut for Darren DeVries last night over Alabama A&M. I'm reminded this time of year, I don't know if you guys ever feel this way, outside of my family, the voice I hear the most this time of year is Robbie Hummel. I swear he's in my living room every night.
I subscribe to this.
Mm-hmm.
I like this.
Does he do every game I watch?
I do think he has a crazy travel schedule. He has to. He's everywhere.
Gosh, I swear he was the Purdue game the other night. He was Indiana last night. 98-51, 23 assists, 41% from three, and 100% from the foul line.
They got to come down and play for the Pacers at this point.
Don't
Some
think
free throws.
Those were numbers they had a lot in the previous era. Their big four in the starting lineup scored Reed Bailey, Lamar Wilkerson. That's a big night. Sam Alexis, the transfer from the national champion Florida Gators, off the bench with 17. And Wilkerson can really shoot it. I flipped over a couple times during the Pacer game. He hit one from Ellettsville, and I mean, you could tell he's just got the green light like none other. So quick one for Indiana. They'll have Marquette coming up on Sunday. That is up at the United Center. And Butler, 88-58 all over Southern Indiana. Both easy covers for Indiana and Butler last night. 15-0 start to the game. Again, Michael Jai, 24, 12, and 5 for the transfer there. They've got IU Indy. I believe it's a 5 o'clocker coming up on Saturday there, and we know IU Indy's a lot of entertainment from a scoring and a pressing standpoint.
Two things I want to see from Robbie Hummel: how many travel miles he gets this time of year, and his W-2s when tax season comes. How many is he filling out for that?
Well, and isn't he doing a little NBA this year?
Yeah.
Didn't I read somewhere where like he's a part of either it's the NBC or the Amazon, where at some point he's going to like sit on a bench during the NBA game and have access via that way, which I am curious about.
That'd be pretty interesting.
So what you're saying is he's doing a little bit more work than Michael Jordan.
You mean in pre-tape a 2-hour interview that can play 2 minutes chunks for the rest of the season of?
That sounds like a really great idea, honestly, if you're Jordan. The Raiders, Broncos tonight, Thursday Night Football, big ol' underdog. The Raiders, that is 8.5 points. Jason Hammer will join us here coming up at 9:30 to give some picks there. And college football this weekend. Any concern with the history of Penn State for Indiana? Have they ever won in Happy Valley? I don't believe they have.
I'm not worried about history because the present has been way too fruitful, honestly. This
Penn
team
State
is
is cheeks.
rolling. Yeah, as the kids say, they are. No, as Cam Ward would say, they are. I can't even say it with a straight face. Can I say that on the air? Sure. They are ass, as Cam Ward would say.
Oh, yeah, you can say. I mean, I already told Mark to kiss my ass earlier.
Yeah,
show.
I was just checking, make sure.
You're good. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is certainly.
They take away your passport after saying ass. You cannot travel to Berlin.
You know, Lord have mercy. And I remember the first time I went through customs.
Bring gas.
For that too. First time I went through customs. Last time I went to Germany, the guy asked me how much money I had on me, and I went like, I don't know, $20. And I think he meant like euros. And I was like, oh, yeah. Don't have any of those with me.
Might as well just stick an American flag on your forehead.
Give me the rubles. Give me some rubles.
I will say it is very interesting being anywhere and you have the accent.
Oh, sure.
So everyone can definitely tell you're American, and it certainly helps you're a little melanated too. When I was over there, I definitely stood out a little bit. They were like, oh, this guy is not from here. Yeah, and I don't know how much German heritage I have, but I was glad to be over there. Honorary brother, man.
2-touchdown favorite, Indiana over Penn State coming up. That's a big noon kickoff on Saturday. And shout out, chirp, chirp, Mike Uremovich and company last night. Maction, 4th and 2. Hell of a play call there. Cameron Anthony, the HSE product, wide open there as he rumbled down the sideline. Ball State beating Kent State 17-13. Some horrific clock management from Kent State the rest of the way to help out Ball State in that W. All right, on the other side, Sauce Gardner reaction from yesterday. Much more on that. Thought Zaire Franklin told a pretty good story about what happened there from a trade deadline standpoint, and where are we at with the Pacers now as they have their worst start in 37 years. It is the Fan Morning Show here on a Thursday. Thanks for spending it with us. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. You got anything planned, James, outside of work? You leave this afternoon, correct?
Yes, I leave this afternoon. I land tomorrow morning in Berlin. I think it's maybe 3 or 4 hours before practice in Berlin for the Colts. So I'll see how the body feels when I'm out there for that. But Saturday is wide open. Nothing work obligated. I know last time I was over there, I pretty much went to all the touristy spots and all the NFL activations that they have and little pop-up things that they've kind of put there to promote the game. And that's usually pretty fun. Ran into some Colts workers, actually, when I was out there last time, so maybe I'll see some others when I'm there. And I have the documentary crew. Remember those guys came in a few weeks ago?
The German Hard Knocks.
Yeah, they want to get an interview in over there as well and get my perspective on how the international game feels from boots on the ground. So I'll do some things with them Saturday. And then Sunday is the game. And I feel like it's the longest game day ever because the bus that takes you from the media hotel to the actual stadium leaves very, very early. I want to say it might be like 4 hours before kick. And I think it's just because everyone wants to take in the scene and, make sure that we have plenty of time to get to our seats and soak in what is a very unique experience. So, you know me, sometimes I roll up to the game and it might be 20 minutes before kickoff, especially if it's a home game here in Indianapolis, whereas overseas, very, very early and a long day, but it should be a fun day. So I'm looking forward to it. Last time I was over there, Kevin, I can honestly say the environment was cool. And it was honestly very refreshing to have sort of like this gratitude to just be able to watch a game. And you see so many different jerseys. And that's like my one time where I'm like, I'm not judging you if you're wearing any team's jersey, because for most of these people, this is the first and perhaps only NFL game they will ever see in person. So it's very cool to experience that.
Again, first ever game in Berlin. It is, if I'm not mistaken, the 30-something. I'm going to say 36-year anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. So I think there will be some acknowledgement about that.
Yeah.
When you think about that stadium, obviously Jesse Owens and the Olympics is one of the more historical moments, frankly, in sports.
Yeah.
So it is a very old stadium. I get it. I understand there are some Colts fans that are probably like, wait a minute, they took away a home game for that. But, I think when you go over there and you're able to see just the sheer joy that those fans have, it is a pretty cool moment there. So just to remind everybody, it's a 9:30 local kick for us here in the States. We'll have you covered on our airwaves. Fox 59 will pick it up locally. NFL Network is where it airs from a national standpoint. Colts will leave tonight, 8 o'clock tonight, melatonin up on the flight, and they'll have a walkthrough coming up tomorrow.
One more quick thing I'll say about the whole experience is when I went over there last time, I had a chance to go to like a museum for Frankfurt. So learning about the history is actually really cool. I appreciated kind of the perspective that you gain from things that happened years ago that still have an impact on the way the country is set up or politics or whatever the case may be. So that was a unique experience for me previously, and I'm hoping if I get some free time to maybe hit another museum. I'm a big museum guy whenever I'm in a place I'm not familiar with.
Venture over to another country and red light district, maybe. Mark, is that the museum you would recommend? Yeah. That's a heavily endorsed one there from Mark.
You just
Dyton.
reminded me though. I got to make sure all of the German Uber apps are working. They do not use Uber over in Germany.
Really?
Last time I checked. Yeah, it's called Free Now.
Oh,
which is basically the same thing. But yeah, I would never drive in a foreign country. People are asking, "Well, you got a rental car?" No, they drive on the same side of the road that we do, but I still wouldn't do it.
Should I have known Ice Spice?
Yes.
No,
I think you should have. You're in the demographic.
So we're at dinner last night, and Maddie Bowen looks at me and goes, "Ice Spice's boyfriend plays for the Colts." You knew her, Mark?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, am I getting that old? Am I that much old? Gosh.
James, you know who Ice Spice is.
I know, but James
know
is
who
saying
it is,
to me.
But I don't think that necessarily it's not like he's going to listen to Ice Spice's music, but also I don't know if I'm
Do you appreciate that that's
aware
how
of her because of her music. She's just very beautiful.
Do you appreciate that that's how she referenced Sauce Gardner?
I do appreciate that.
So Sauce
now
Gardner,
she's locked in. She's ready to watch.
I guess Sauce Gardner has a very famous girlfriend. Is that the best way to put it?
Yes, she is very famous, at least among my demographic. I don't know your demographic with the Canes and Ben Gay. I don't know if they know who Ice Spice is.
I mean, Mark had me covered there. Maddie followed up with she will break up with him eventually. There's no way she's moving to Indy. So there's your hot take.
Come on, Maddie, come on.
From Maddie Bowen. Again, Sauce Gardner, full participant yesterday in practice.
You got to tell us Ice Spice where's the family.
Ice Spice coming over and helping with the new baby. If he clears concussion protocol, which is the expectation, he will play coming up on Sunday. I want to play the Zaire Franklin clip. And, it was a reminder, James, and I think I forget this at times, and specifically the wide receivers. I think all individually touched on this yesterday, especially when you look at where Sauce Gardner's locker was in the Colts locker room. He took A.D. Mitchell's locker. And I believe I saw the Jets writer say A.D. Mitchell took Sauce Gardner's locker. It's just one of these weird things where, usually the defensive guys are on one side of the room, the offensive guys are on the other. And Sauce, and by the way, that notebook he had in his locker looked very detailed from notes. But, there was another player that got traded. And I think I kind of forget that. I kind of lose, sight of that. And by all accounts, I think A.D. Mitchell was a player that his teammates liked a lot. And, he worked hard and everything. So this is Zaire Franklin's insight yesterday describing exactly what happened from a player in the locker room trade deadline.
You're looking at your phone, you see, Sauce Gardner traded to the Colts. Immediately you turned up, but then at the back of your mind, you're like, hold on, I got to see what the details is. Got to see what was given up, who was given up. And, on one hand, like you said, you know what that means when you're getting a player like him for your defense. But at the same time, you got to feel for AD, understand where he's coming from. But you're also excited for him, though. He's going to go with that opportunity that I know he deserves, that he wants, and a fresh start in a new city. So, once I was able to talk to him and holler at him and see how he felt, he was in great spirits about the whole situation. No hard feelings either, too. So that was cool. But, you're immediately excited. But at the same time, you got to get to work. So it's like, yeah, I was hyped, and I had people at my house that heard me yelling in my basement, but first thing I did was go grab my iPad and start preparing for Falcons, because at the same time, if I don't do my job, he can't do his job. So it's just one of those things where the work got to get put in.
If A.D. Mitchell doesn't drop the ball, is Ice Spice's boyfriend here?
I honestly think there's a good chance that it's still the case, because remember when we talked about this? Prior to the injuries, he still hadn't played all that much. So if you're telling me he's a model citizen, doesn't make the mistake in LA, but he's still just playing 15, 20 snaps a game, is that worth holding on to when we're looking at the possibility of bringing in a 2-time first-team All-Pro? I would say you still pull the trigger on the deal. Yeah,
and the reason why I say that, it sounds like from the Jets side of it, the A.D. Mitchell inclusion in the trade was kind of the difference. Was kind of all right, we can't say no to all of what you're offering us, the 2 first-round picks being the cornerstone pieces of the trade. But then also when you throw in that player, one thing I was kind of struck by yesterday, Daniel Jones is always kind of the first one to speak on a Wednesday inside the Colts locker room. And Alec Pierce spoke pretty quickly thereafter. We'll get some Alec Pierce audio. He's very close with Sauce Gardner. The two appear to be, really good friends. Played together at Cincinnati. Obviously, wide receiver corner relationship from in-practice battles. Both enjoy each other off the field, et cetera, et cetera. But before we went over to Alec, again, Daniel Jones was asked about Sauce Gardner, and I found myself just standing there listening to Daniel Jones for a second thinking, the all chips in. That's how you let off your piece. We've played the Jim Irsay audio. All chips in for the Colts. For it to occur, it took 2 months of life with Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
That's kind of freaking wild, is it not?
Absolutely. And he wouldn't go there. And I believe I think it was Kent Sterling that really pressed him on. They gave up 2 first-round picks, which could have been used on quarterbacks, which basically says you're going to be here. And I have a piece coming out later today on that whole front and what that means for Daniel Jones and possibly Anthony Richardson. But that's the reality we're living in. The Colts, even after the terrible game in Pittsburgh, that to me was sort of your opportunity to keep the door cracked and say, if we don't want to fully commit to this guy, we don't necessarily have to, because wait, that old Daniel Jones just popped back up. And instead, they full steam ahead and said, no, we believe that Daniel Jones that we saw through the first 8 games is the guy we want to hitch our future to, essentially. So to me, it's not even a matter of if he'll be around next season or in the future. It's how. Franchise tag, extension, what negotiations are you doing? And I know he would not go there. And to give Daniel some credit, he's been through a lot in his career, so perhaps he really is telling the truth when he's saying, hey, I'm just trying to make sure I can, stay ready for the Falcons. But there's a lot of trickle-down effect from the Sauce Gardner trade, and it starts with him.
Yeah, like, I never would have thought 3 months ago, let alone 3 years ago, that I would sit here in the studio and say, yeah, it took 2 months of good football from Daniel Jones for the Colts to go all in.
Here's one for you that I was literally thinking of yesterday, and I was thinking to myself, this is crazy. The man had 5 turnovers in a game.
Yeah.
His career high, more than any game he ever had in New York. And none of us went to the media room afterwards and asked, is he your starting quarterback the next week?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, it shows what he's done for the first 7 weeks.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is wild. And one thing on the Ballard front, and we've had this discussion a lot, okay, what has changed from Chris Ballard, here in 2025?
The pocketbook? Matter of fact, I need to be able to play some receiver or play some cornerback or something so I can give me some coins.
Like, I'll go back to the start of the year. What changed? All right, he admitted that his defensive approach was wrong. Okay, no more Gus Bradley, Matt Eberflus, a little bit more simplified schemes. We need to be open-minded to doing things differently. How much influence does Shane Steichen have on the hiring of Lou Anarumo? I think a good amount, to be honest with you. But still, they obviously wanted to change things up from a defensive standpoint. Probably the biggest Ballard change we've seen over the last 11 months was paying paying Mooney Ward and paying Cameron Bynum. That was the biggest, oh my gosh, free agency. We're no longer going to say, hey, I'm not giving whatever B players A money, A players A plus money. No, we're going to shop differently in free agency. That's probably the biggest change from Ballard. And then specifically, you go back to the Ward deal, James, and you go back to all the reports around this Sauce Gardner trade. I would say one of the biggest things we've seen change from Chris Ballard, he has been such a staunch, probably could use the word stubborn, believer in, we assign a value to you as a player, and we don't waver from it.
Right.
When it comes to our in-house guys, well, let Danico Autry walk to the Tennessee Titans. Or out of the building guys.
It's the theory of we're not going to play the B-level player A money to bring him in.
But in the case of Mooney Ward, and Mooney shared this story, in free agency, his hometown team, the New Orleans Saints, is where he thought he was going.
Yeah.
And the Colts came in and said, we've got to sweeten the deal and get ahead of New Orleans if this guy's going to entertain us.
And what do you think that sweetening entailed?
Well, I'd assume another zero, potentially a comma, potentially whatever Sauce Gardner paid Josh Downs to get his jersey number. So that applies to free agency. But then let's look at this Gardner deal. By all accounts, the New York Jets were not going to say yes if it was just 2 first-rounders. You throw in A.D. Mitchell, which is sweetening the deal. It is saying, hey, we feel like internally Sauce Gardner's worth 2 first-round picks. Let's say the Colts are in their boardroom, and that's what they're saying. And then the Jets counter and say, all right, thanks, but no thanks. Old Chris Ballard would have said, all right, who's next on the list?
Yeah.
But instead, he sat there and said, you know what? If we want a player like that, we're going to have to get fleeced a little bit. We're going to have to get a little
and I do think it's a bit of an overpay slightly, but at the same time, you got to look at the risk versus the reward. The reward is if you do strike gold with Sauce Gardner.
Jalen Ramsey and the Rams.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the thought there. So, I do think we have seen Ballard change here in 2025. We'll get to a Mark Dykton. I got to know here coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Anything lingering from Pacers last night? I think it's fair to say it's a bad loss.
Absolutely. I mean, again, the only thing that's lingering for me is turning on. I follow a lot of pages that will show highlights from college programs, whether it's men's or women's basketball. And every time the Pacers lose this year, I go to one of those pages and go see what one of those phenom freshmen are doing. And I'm like, how would he look in a Pacers uniform? Because it's getting to that for me, honestly. It's rough. And
when do you think it would get like that for them internally?
I think if you get to
8 games into 82,
I think if you get to 25 games into the year, and about 20 games would be about a fourth of the season. You get to 20 games and you only got about 3 or 4 wins. it's probably time to start thinking like that.
And just to kind of throw that out there, which I don't think internally they're throwing up the white flag as early as some other franchises will, but we know Obi Toppin's not playing until at least game 50. Yeah, he's out till February.
Yeah.
The trade deadline's right around there. That is obviously always a big pivot point. So those are probably just some things. Again, how long is Nemhard going to be out? How long is Matherin? Those are the two big ones right now. McConnell's supposed to be reevaluated here, I think, coming up in the next handful of days. Right now, TJ McConnell would be a beyond welcome addition to your team, given point guard. So 20-ish games, yeah. I'd probably go a little further into the season than that. But the fact,
oh, really? I mean, if they go 20 games into the year and they're 3-17,
well, yeah,
4-16, I mean,
I forgot that you threw out that record.
That's rough.
Yeah. And then what do you do with Matherin?
That's a great question. I honestly think he needs to get, well, obviously all these guys, I hope they get back as soon as possible. But for his sake, if anything, you just get a chance to showcase the talents for somebody else. If the Pacers don't feel inclined to bring you back. But I don't even know if that's even an issue. I still think that he could be a part of their future. It's just so hard to evaluate what that'll look like when you don't have any bodies. Like, you're asking him coming into the season to play the Pacers' way and move the ball and be a bit of a quicker thinker when it comes to our offense, and then everyone gets hurt. And assuming he's not out for, too much longer, if he's able to, come back, let's say at the end of the month or something like that and get back healthy, what are you telling Ben Matherin to do other than, okay, go out there and give us 25? I mean, I'm not worried about moving the ball with this unit. I'm worried about, can you just help us get a win?
I'll tell you what, you watched the Pacers offense last year, and it's like watching a restart of the Indy 500 on lap 190. Like, inject it into my veins. That is freaking awesome. And I'm watching this offense.
Who's the guy who spun out?
I'd rather watch Jeff and his son do roundabouts in Carmel to learn driver's ed.
Who is the guy who spun out in the 500 to
Scott
start?
McLaughlin.
Yeah, this is what this feels like.
Oh, it is
like you can't get out your own way type of thing.
And again, I'm used to that.
Yeah.
And now I've got to watch this. It's such a bad watch. I don't know any other way to describe it. It is such a bad. It's like watching one of those ugly Big Ten games from the barn that I'm staying up for at 9:00 on a Tuesday night, and somehow Hummel is not on the call. It's one of the 3 games all year I watched that Robbie Hummel's not on the call.
Yeah,
I've got
rough.
Stephen Bardo in my ear.
What you got against Bardo, man?
No, let's not back your Illinois boy.
To be quite honest, I probably listen to his games very few and far between. I can't lie.
The stat this year for the Pacers, they are now 8 games into the season. They have yet to shoot 45% from the floor this year. Last year, they were at 45% or better in 66 of their 82 games.
That is the Tyrese Halliburton effect, as well as we need healthy bodies.
And Andrew Nemhard and TJ McConnell. Yeah, the list goes on and on. Mark, you like anything tonight, Thursday night? 8.5 seems like a big number for an intra-division game.
It's a big number, but the Raiders stink. I also don't trust the Broncos, because how many times this year have they not looked very good until the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, there's a game going on. We should probably start playing now.
So I don't know if I would have
know.
got it right if you would have told me they were 7-2.
No.
I looked at that this morning. I'm like, wait, they're 7-2?
I know.
So is it them, New England, and Indy? Those 3 are all 7-2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the Bills are 6-2, which, by the way, I feel like, oh man, the Bills, they struggling this year. No, they're not really. I mean, they're right there,
they are
too.
right there. I went on Kansas City radio yesterday, and they were like, hey, you think the Colts will get the 1 seed? And they listed the odds for the 1 seed, and I forgot Buffalo was 6-2.
Yeah, same. Yeah, because I'm like, I was writing all these stories about, it's wide open. The juggernauts aren't who they used to be, and I'm like, wait a second, the Bills are right there with Josh Allen.
By the way,
there are 5 teams in the AFC that have 6 or more wins. It's the
Lord have mercy.
Colts, Patriots, Bills, the Broncos, and the Chargers. That's it.
Gosh, the Chargers are kind of up
there.
there.
That's crazy.
Boy, the Colts having the head-to-heads over Denver and L.A. could be big.
Absolutely.
Coming up in a bit, I want to play this Derrick Henry audio.
I do. I know where you're going with this.
Again, we shared this definitely on Monday's show, but shout out to Miles McLaughlin from Knox, Indiana. He broke the all-time state career rushing record that Charlie Spiegel held in the sectional semifinal round. I think he had over 400 yards in that game.
What a dog.
And he has a shot to beat Derrick Henry's record. Is there anything more YouTubed, I feel like, than Derrick Henry's high school highlights? I feel like if you are a sports nerd out there, you've watched that at least 3 times on YouTube. Derrick Henry has a career rushing record for the entire nation, of course, and Miles McLaughlin would need to average, I think it's right under 300 yards rushing in 4 games. Now, of course, that means Knox would have to get to the state finals, and I know that sounds like an absurd number, but he is averaging that. I think he's averaging well above that, frankly, this season. And Derrick Henry was with Kay Adams and had some great comments about that. I thought it was really cool to hear him discuss Miles McLaughlin and Knox. The recruiting profile slightly different for Derrick Henry versus Miles McLaughlin. I saw he's visited maybe some MAC schools, UND, things like that, but we'll play that audio upcoming for you here in a little bit. Plenty more on Sauce Gardner and his practice debut with the Colts yesterday, and we'll get you set for the trip to Germany as James leaves later today. It is the Fan Morning Show right here on a Thursday. Thank you for spending it with us. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Get familiar, Kevin.
Yeah, me and Maddie are shaking and grooving.
The girlfriend to Sauce Gardner. Right here, Ice Spice.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Spice.
Yeah.
Not a Spice Girl.
Not a Spice Girl.
Okay. Ginger Spice, right? Is that a Spice Girl?
Yeah, she got it done back in the day.
A little nervous what happened there underneath the table.
Like,
Man.
whoa.
Took me back all of a
Hey,
sudden.
relax, man.
I was back in 1997 for a brief period of time.
Cleaning crew just walked by. They might have to make a pit stop back here.
Wave her in. Come
Dear
here.
Lord. That was Mark Dykton. If you didn't know, I'm Kevin Bowen, James Boyd across the way. Jeff should be back tomorrow. Sauce Gardner has a famous girlfriend. I had no idea until Maddie Bowen informed me last night, and that was her, right?
Yep.
Yes, that was
would
her.
be-
That's my goal in life. I want to be able to get with somebody, and they're the famous one. I know, and they know nothing about me. You got with that? You hit the home run out of your league? Yes, I did. Absolutely.
Kevin, as a reporter, you need to do some research on Ice Spice. Just-
Yeah, I should have been all over that.
May I suggest you don't do that research when you're sitting next to Maddie?
So should I lead off with
Well,
Sauce?
no, Maddie's familiar. Just say, hey, I'm trying to learn.
Should I lead off with Sauce
Fair.
Gardner today, being like, oh, I was unfamiliar with your girlfriend. Congrats.
I don't know how well that'll go over.
He retweeted me yesterday. I feel like
We're boys.
I feel like we're boys at this point.
Well done. Good
full-
job.
From what I understand, though, he is chronically online. So I'm hoping, but not hoping, that we get some cryptic tweets at some point, because he's known to be a tweet and delete guy, from what I understand.
I think there's some corner personality to Sauce Gardner is probably the best way
The man's name is Sauce, so
I can describe it. Full participant yesterday in practice for him, and I think it's fair to say signs point to him playing Sunday. One thing about Atlanta, James, they are 3-5. They've lost 3 in a row. There are numerous questions about Raheem Morris and his future there. They have one of the worst point differentials in the NFC. This game has me a little nervous. Atlanta's got some star power.
I was going to say, lay on the couch, Kevin. What's on your mind?
They've got some star power. Bijan Robinson, Drake London. I think Kyle Pitts can have a moment or two. Defensively, Jesse Bates. Certainly, Lou Anarumo knows him quite well. They
Very
did
good
sack Drake May 6 times last week. Somehow New England still won the game. But, we obviously saw the Colts have some offensive line issues. I think weird things can happen in these international games. I'd throw that in there. So, I don't know. Maybe I have PTSD from the game down there 2 years ago when the Colts just got blitzed by the Falcons in a game that they had to have, and they lost to Taylor Heineke in Atlanta. But I don't know. There's just a little bit. I will still pick the Colts, to be clear, but this is not the walk-on Riley Leonard game on paper that I viewed with the Raiders or I viewed with the Titans, I guess is how I would describe it.
What's the spread?
6. 6.5, Mark?
6 is the last I saw.
Yeah.
I can check to see if it's changed since this morning.
Yeah.
Like, if you told me to bet on anything, hey, you can bet on the 529 for your new daughter coming up on the Colts or the Falcons to cover, I would bet on the Falcons to cover that.
6.5.
Yeah, I do think this will be a
It'll be a
game that's a little
closer
bit
game.
tougher. But also, I think this is a big game for the Colts in the sense that you want to be able to quiet the noise of people saying you're not for real. And I think here in our market, you're more inclined to think, oh, well, for 8 games, they looked really good. And you look at the 2 losses this year through the first 9 games overall, a lot of it in those 2 losses have been turnovers and self-inflicted mistakes. Now, I would say I'll give Pittsburgh more credit than I give the Rams when it comes to knocking off the Colts because they took it to them in the trenches with the offensive line and the defensive line. They got dominated there. But I think if you want to validate the Sauce Gardner move early on, if you want to get back on track with believing in Daniel Jones and adding some validity to why you believe in him and some conviction into why you think the guy we saw turn it over 5 times and look like the Giants quarterback is no longer that person, you got to go out here and beat this team on the road. Well, not on the road, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
On the road overseas and have a chance to enter the bye week with some momentum and some positivity. So I just don't think it will be very good for this team. Not saying it will be the end of the season, but 7-3 going into the bye, having lost 2 games, that feels a little bit different than obviously getting Sauce in the mix and cooking up something overseas.
Whoa. Shut the front door here, Ray Love. I just got a DM from Ray Love.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, Kevin, according to the latest TMZ report a few weeks back, Sauce was spotted with a rapper by the name Latto sister Brooklyn Nicole.
Whoa.
And they're allegedly dating now. Not Ice Spice. So I'll lead off with that today then. We'll just clear the air.
Sauce, you're gonna be on the first post is gonna be on the Shade Room
Sauce,
on Instagram.
He said, she said, just to clear the air here. Is it Ice Spice or is it Are we familiar with Brooklyn Nicole?
I am familiar with her. She is the sister of Latto, the rapper, who's actually very good at rapping, I must say. Okay. But
are you familiar with her, Kevin?
No, I'm not. Should I be? Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like we should never ask Mark if he's familiar with any woman who's
Mark's
attractive.
just got more swag than I do. Period.
Big Energy. That's a great song.
Thank you, Ray Love, for clearing that up. I do think heightened urgency is how I would describe Sunday, James.
That's a good way to put it.
Anytime you go in the bye week, I always feel like you kind of circle the game a little bit more.
Yeah.
But look what's waiting after the bye. It's at Kansas City. So if all of a sudden you drop 2 in a row, you go into the bye, you're at Kansas City. Yeah, it's just, I guess for the first time all year, it'd be one of those. It'd be one of those.
Yeah, that could be a month of losing straight. You can't allow that to happen.
Yeah, it just would have a little bit more on that front there. Coming up, Scott Agnes going to join us 9 o'clock, talk a little Pacers, and 9:30, Jason Hammer. Boy, I hate to tee up Mark Dykton right after that, but Mark Dykton, should we play a little I Got to Know?
He's got questions.
How about a game?
They've got answers.
Hey, I'm more of a cornhole man myself.
Sports, music, movies.
What?
High fashion.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
And everything in between.
You ever seen a foot with 4 toes?
It's time to get a glimpse into the mind of Mark Dykton.
Stop it, you're scaring me.
It's time for I Gotta Know.
Okay, you punks, I want a good, clean fight. Let's get it on.
Now, Mark, before we get started here, I'm trying to think here. Clipboard Jesus.
Yeah.
Remember Charlie Whitehurst?
Yes.
Dated Jewel, correct?
Uh-huh.
I wonder if that's our most famous Colts player significant other in recent history.
Didn't, what's his name? He was dating one of the Playboy models from...
Oh, the guy who dropped the ball in the onside kick.
Yeah,
Hank Basket.
Hank Basket, was dating... Kendra Wilkinson.
I know her.
Oh, yeah. See?
I don't know. I don't know where
we know what you mean.
Somehow my laptop searched her name.
We know what you mean.
Respect.
Yeah, I would say, right? Wouldn't you say she was up there?
Yeah, I don't know how to describe fame and rank fame, but yeah, she'd be on the Mount Rushmore.
No, this might be a little like a research project to do. Most famous.
This sounds like something right down your alley, Mark.
I might do it. I'm preparing for tomorrow's show as we speak, so I might hold on. Breaking news here.
Jeff and you debating this?
Yeah. So we'll figure it out. But most famous Colts girlfriend / wife back in that. It's an interesting topic. We'll dive into that. Okay. You want to start Colts or Pacers? Or I'll give you guys a thought.
James Boyd, go ahead.
Let's go Pacers.
All right. It has been a rough start for our injury-ravaged Pacers, but the best thing you've seen despite a 1-7 record has been what? I know there's not much to choose from.
Dear Lord.
The best thing I've seen? Man. Well, then walking down Golden State has to be up there. I thought Quinn Jackson in that game was great.
Fourth quarter.
I enjoyed that. Quinn Jackson, a guy who's kind of been a fringe NBA player, so to speak, him having a 25 and 10 game, no turnovers against Steph Curry, and then hitting the game winner basically to seal the victory over Draymond Green. That's a game where years from now, we might not remember it, but I'm sure that's a lifetime memory for him and his family, and he can say, one day for one game, I was better than Steph Curry.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. I'm struggling mightily, Mark, to come up with another one here. I don't even know if you can point to like a young player that, has had 3 or 4 great games. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to go with James. I mean, is there another one? James, have you had to pick another one?
Well, I mean,
I guess some of these games have been.
How about opening night? Took the Thunder to the limit.
Yeah, that game was just so.
But the ending is so painful.
I will say this: I enjoyed the juice on Monday night.
It felt like a playoff game in there.
I enjoyed a little healthy venom.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's where you got booing. I loved it.
I like when professional atmospheres feel a little college rivalry.
It does.
I don't think the pro atmospheres enough in the regular season feel like that. I do think Gainbridge is a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I do think there are many fourth quarters in the regular season where the fans do get into it. But, too often it's everybody hanging out in that restaurant to start the third quarter until like 10 minutes, into the third quarter. Last night, half the arena missed Rick Carlisle getting tossed. So, I'll go with the Monday night energy.
Okay. Again, that's kind of a Lotto reference you just had there.
Big energy, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Lotto.
Clean version. All right, 8 games remain on the Colts schedule, including Sunday's international game in Berlin against the Falcons. How many more losses do you guys see on the schedule? Now, it's the Falcons, Chiefs. They still have the Texans and Jaguars both twice. They've also got the Seahawks and the 49ers. So 8 games left. How many more losses is on this Colts schedule?
3. I think they're going to finish the season. What would that be, 13-4? Oh, no. Sorry. That'd be 12-5.
I think the over-under was 12.5 before Pittsburgh. I wonder if that would have changed it at all. You went 3, James?
I'm going to go 3. I think they lose at Kansas City, lose against the Seahawks, and drop one of these games against their division rival, whether it's the Texans or...
Are they winning in Jacksonville?
That's the third loss right there. They're not winning in Jacksonville.
Come on. This kind of season, and they're still losing at Jacksonville.
That streak's going to continue?
Look, I will never pick them to win in Jacksonville until I see it. So don't you sit there, Mark, and act like I'm picking something that just, oh, wow, that's such a hot take. No, it's not. I ain't seen it.
I might switch it up a little bit. I don't know. For some reason, I always feel like I pick against this team, and they seemingly have 37 dudes on the injury report, and they win. And that's the 49ers.
That is true.
So, I'll go 3. I don't know.
I feel like there's going to be one that...
I'll go 4 just to be different.
I feel like, 4 might be all right because I'm like, there's going to be one game that gets away from them. I feel like that is going to happen. There's going to be a game.
If Stroud is healthy, I get their O-line could be a mess, but I don't know. Nico Collins, I feel like, has just, to use James's words, hibachied the Colts.
But now they have sauce.
Well,
sauce to go with the hibachi.
Look at this. That sounds beautiful. I'll stick with 4 just to be different.
Okay, have you guys seen this Comet 3-Eye Atlas situation? Are you guys familiar with any of this?
No.
I knew nothing of it until Jeff
If I don't
mentioned
know
it.
Ice Spice, do you think I know that?
A break the other day.
This sounds like something that you would put in a little baggie and hand to somebody.
Yeah. So apparently it's a comet.
James is getting it when he lands in Berlin today.
Yeah, that Comet 3-Eye. Whoo,
I
baby.
know. I'm like, am I saying this right? I don't know. The science nerds will come after me. It's a comet that has reportedly changed colors multiple times. It's changed its course and path and speed suddenly and doesn't appear to have a tail, which most comets do, which caused many people to think it might be an actual alien spacecraft because even NASA scientists are befuddled by this. Long way to say, do you guys believe in aliens, and will we see a real-life UFO or alien land on Earth in our lifetimes?
Ooh, that's a deep question.
I don't.
Why not?
You don't believe, or you don't think we'll see it? Or both?
Both.
You don't believe?
I mean, we've been around for so long. How is something
Kevin.
not happened already?
Who's to say it
my
hasn't?
theory is that I feel like if you're looking at...
Now, again, maybe Jeff and his sons were waving to A.D. Mitchell in the sky the other night with his Jets uni on.
On home.
I'm going to say I do believe that there's probably some other existence out there, but they have no reason to come to Earth. They look at Earth and they're like, you know what? That Airbnb, that outlook like that got too many good reviews. Well, we're not staying there, so they just keep on going by.
You have an alien land here and try to explain the streaming situation for sports these days, and they'll be out of here in a light year.
Honestly, if they show up with a Roku remote and explain how I can get back and forth quickly enough, welcome. They can sleep on my couch.
Can you lift the ESPN Disney dispute? Can you do that for YouTube
there you
TV?
Go. I'm telling you, they don't have those problems in alien land.
No. They're like, oh, I look at this jailbroken Fire Stick. Figure that out. Oh, okay. I figured it out. All right, what are we watching at the moment on television? Starting 5, have you guys finished that yet?
No, I haven't. That could be a good hospital watch, honestly, for me, now that I think about it. Maddie is locked in. I mean, I tell you what, locked in with Dancing with the Stars.
Isn't Jordan Childs on there, I think?
Yep. Shout out to Jordan Childs, the Olympic gymnast, for those unfamiliar. Yeah, I mean, we're analyzing it. She's got Rosie. I mean, I feel like they're Rick Venturi. breaking it down. So we have been very big days to the start. And last night I was reminded, and by the way, can I rant for a second?
Feel free, my friend.
I know I've done this before, but it's college basketball season, so I'm going to do it again. Last night, Indiana's supposed to tip at 8 o'clock.
Oh, preach.
I flip over to Big Ten Network, and I've got the damn Jersey Mike's Arena staring back at me, and it's Rutgers and Isaiah Ryder. And there's 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this game.
No, I agree.
How, in the year of 2025, Mark wants aliens, I want a little button in the bottom right corner that says, if you'd like to watch Indiana, Alabama A&M, click here. It's the same network. I'm not asking.
So you're not losing money.
Right. I'm not leaving ESPN. Let me click on Big Ten Network. Let me go watch the Indiana, Alabama A&M game so I don't have to watch Rutgers walk-ons chuck it from the volleyball line for 3 minutes. It makes no sense to me. And we always have to go to these alternate channels. Notre Dame, Boston College will start on ESPN News. And, you need Big Ten Plus to watch the start of Indiana and Alabama A&M. No, if it's on your network, put the button in the corner, let me click on it. And it happens all the time with college basketball and college football season here.
I agree, brother. As someone who no longer has ESPN, I don't have these issues, though.
Gosh, I'm already sweating at 8:16 in the morning.
I will say I am watching currently The Night Of on HBO. It's like this drama show. Hard to describe. Just watch the trailer if you're interested. Kind of like a court kind of show. It's pretty good. And I finished Gen V on Amazon Prime Video.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a superhero show, not for kids. Do not play this around your children at all. But pretty fascinating watch. And I think it's a very realistic take on how superheroes would actually be in the real world. We always think the good guys are going to get the powers like the Avengers. Nah, I think that this is a very real take on how things would look. I would like to have superhero insurance if those things ever start happening in real life.
Not to get too personal, but will you go sleeping aid tonight?
No, I told you I'm very good at sleeping on planes. So as soon as I get a little weary-eyed, I am out.
And you're like Brussels. Where are you? I mean, you're everywhere.
The travel schedule is a little crazy, but yeah, I go from here to Newark, and then Newark overseas to Brussels.
That's Belgium.
Had to look that up on because I was like, Lord have mercy, I've not been in school social studies in a long time. And then Brussels over to Berlin.
What's Brussels to Berlin? How long is that?
I didn't even look, brother.
What is the length of the flight in totality? Like when your feet touch the ground in Berlin, how long will you be in the air traveling?
Oh man, that's a great question. Honestly, I think I leave today, so
I think the direct is 8. It like Colts. So the Colts are obviously Indy to Berlin. Yeah. I want to say that's 8.
Just hide in the stowaway bin.
So I wish, but yeah, it's like the real long flight is from Newark to Brussels, which is like 7 hours and maybe 15 minutes.
Ugh.
But yeah, I'll start traveling today at about 3:30, and then
you got a gift, man.
Yeah, but I'll start traveling today at 3:30 our time, and then I land over in Berlin at like 11:15 a.m. their time. So
and the Colts are like 4 o'clock tomorrow local time,
and
right?
I believe like they have like a media bus that takes you out there kind of early. So I don't know how much sleep I'll be getting after that, but it's honestly better to stay up when you get that far from home.
Interesting.
What are you watching, Mark?
The
Ice Spice music videos.
Well, yeah, in my privacy of my own home usually when the wife and kids are gone. No, Fantastic Four First Steps dropped on Disney Plus. I did not see it when it was in theaters. So I'm going to watch that.
I have thoughts on this. I won't spoil it, but we will talk about this movie.
Yeah, so we're going to watch that, I think, at some point. And then, Starting Five, started watching that a little bit ago. Got to dive back into that. And then The Chair Company. I don't know if anybody has watched it yet. It's from Tim Robinson, who does I Think You Should Leave. It's on HBO on Sunday nights. It is very funny. It's very bizarre, but it is very funny, much like I Think You Should Leave on Netflix. So if you're a Tim Robinson fan, check it out because it is quite good.
That is Mark Dykton. I'm Kevin Bowen, James Boyd. Coming up in a bit, Scott Agnes at 9. Jason Hammer with some Thursday picks at 9:30. Busy night of hoops. Let's lead off there. Morning Checkdown.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Let's start in the college ranks. Over at Hinkle Fieldhouse, Butler all over the Screaming Eagles of Southern Indiana, 88-58. They got off to a 15-0 start. Again, Michael Ajayi, the transfer, from Gonzaga. That is a dude that has some serious potential. He was great last night for Butler, 24, 12, and 5. They've got IU Indy coming up Saturday, 5 o'clock.
That boy had a stat line like your boy.
Hinkle. Definitely did. Indiana, down in Bloomington, the Darren DeVries era, numbers you dream of, and maybe the previous era. How about 23 assists? How about 100% from the foul line? 16 of 16, 41% from behind the arc.
Ooh, they were shooting that thing.
Easy cover for the Hoosiers, easy cover for the Bulldogs. It'll get realer a lot quickly here for Indiana. They've got Marquette coming up in the United Center. That is a Sunday afternoon. So Colts don't play at 1 o'clock Sunday. They're at 9:30 a.m. Indiana plays at 1 o'clock, though. ESPN, fair warning there for those that are dealing with that issue. Inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse last night, James, I thought it was a bad loss, and I thought it was rather equal talent with where the Nets are at, especially with Cam Thomas leaving early. I was disappointed, frankly, and I was disappointed a little bit in the Pacers' effort, which that E word has to be a absolute non-starter for the Pacers.
Yeah, got to be the capital
given their situation right now.
Yeah, it's disheartening, and it's rough right now. It's hard to see when those wins will come, especially when you drop a game to a team that previously hadn't won. And I believe the Pacers now are tied for the worst record in the league, and it will not get any easier going out west. Maybe you'll get a little lucky and face the Warriors without Steph Curry. I know he's been out. I think he missed one game recently due to a cold or something like that. Will he be available? We'll wait and see. But at the same time, there is no rest for the weary and no sympathy for the injured.
Full participant in practice yesterday for Sauce Gardner. The expectation is he will clear concussion protocol and make his debut coming up Sunday in Germany. Reminder, Travarius Ward still out. Shane Steichen said that he will return at some point this season, but mandated on injured reserve. It looked like he was doing a little bit of field work yesterday at the start of practice off to the side there. So, again, Sauce Gardner, full participant yesterday. James, anything alarming injury report-wise? Again, it's the Wednesday injury report, so it's always a little bit more on the lighter scale there, but anything?
No, not really. Nothing really alarming. But I guess besides Tyquan Lewis, I know he had practiced last week fully, and then he got downgraded to out for the game due to a groin injury, and then didn't practice yesterday. So I'm wondering, did he have a setback somewhere over the last few days?
For Atlanta, they are dealing with some offensive guard injuries, and Leonard Floyd, one of their better edge rushers, did not practice yesterday. Tonight, Thursday night football, Raiders and Broncos. Raiders are an 8.5-point underdog. I don't think it's too early in the year for Colts fans to start cheering against Denver, cheer against New England. They're right there with the Colts at 7-2 atop the AFC. Of course, the Colts have the head-to-head tiebreaker with Denver. How about a little chirp? Anybody watch Maction last night?
I know that Evan Sherrill did.
Shout out to Evan Sherrill and Cluster Truck. Shout out to Mike Uremovich and the Cardinals. 17-13. Cameron Anthony, a 4th and 2 out of the 2-point conversion. I love the design of that play there. Wide open. Ball State retook the lead there. And then some absolutely horrific clock management from Kent State to close out that game. On the Maction front, college football slate for this weekend locally. It'll start big noon kickoff. Indiana at Penn State there. Penn State, of course, has been awful since the firing there of James Franklin. Indiana about a 2-touchdown favorite as they hit the road. Purdue, nearly a 30-point underdog at home with number 1 Ohio State. Any Ross-Ade magic? They've done it before against Ohio State.
Not this year, man. Not this year. Shout out Tyler Trent.
Shout out Tyler Trent in that Ohio State game from a few years back. And Notre Dame and Navy. That'll be a night game, shockingly, up there in South Bend as Notre Dame plays a Navy team. It's only lost once this year, and Notre Dame has 0 margin for error the rest of the way. Where is College Game Day? Anybody?
Let's
I don't know.
take a look and see.
I think it's Big 12 for the second straight week. I want to say Texas Tech is involved with College Game Day here as we've reached the month of November here.
Yes, that's where they're going.
Texas Tech, and is it BYU?
Yep.
And they're both top 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little College Game Day action coming up for this weekend.
Does the Colts girlfriend have to have been? They have to have been together when they were when he was playing? Because we have someone said that Kelvin Hayden was dating and engaged to Taraji P. Henson back in the day, but that was well after his playing career was over.
Boy, and I thought
let's count it.
I thought the Super Bowl pick 6 was enough there. Sure. Well, I don't know.
They weren't together while he was playing with the Colts. This was long. years after his playing
Well, you know
career.
what, Mark? This is your thing. You've got to decide the parameters.
Right.
This sounds like more of a July 6th topic. I apologize for bringing it up.
Well, yeah, you brought it up. Now I'm like,
blame
I'm
it
all
on
in.
Sauce Gardner. The Colts
all
aren't
in.
used. We're not used to the Colts having famous NFL players.
You just need to ask him
Really
what-
famous
who's
NFL
I do
music-
want to ask him though about moving from New York or New Jersey rather to Indianapolis. It has to be a bit of a shock for him.
Just ask him what
He's from the
mu-
Midwest, but still.
ask
Detroit
him,
native, right?
Ask him
Yes.
what music he prefers, Ice Spice or Lotto, and you'll get your answer on who his girlfriend
Well, I might get shunned to the back of the room pretty quickly if that's a question that.
You're already tall enough, so the way Kevin gets around these issues, just stand in the back and use your height to ask the question. And if he swings on you, you're already without an
is.
arm.
You got a sea of people in front of you.
Yeah,
And then just duck after that.
exactly.
James Boyd, Mark Dykton, Kevin Bowe, and Jeff will be back tomorrow. It is the Fan Morning Show here, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Colts and Falcons coming up in Berlin. That is 9:30 local. Getting quite a few questions on two topics. Mark Dykton is taking notes on famous significant others of Colts players.
Deep dive.
And we're talking historical. Mark is assembling a Mount Rushmore as we speak of significant others.
I mean, if we count Taraji P. Henson, that's up there. She's on.
Some conflicting reports on Sauce Gardner there. We'll try to confirm that with Boots on the Ground reporting a little bit later. And then the other question is, how do I watch the Colts on Sunday if I don't have NFL Network? Fox 59. That'll be your local pickup here. So, again, we'll carry it on our airways, of course. 9:30 a.m. Coffee football. Is there anything better than if your team wins the coffee football game?
Got the rest of the day ahead of you.
It's glorious.
You don't have to worry about the clocks falling back again like last Sunday. You could be like, all right, we got the rest of the day planned. What do you want to do?
James, the only thing I remember about that game in Frankfurt 2 years ago, one of the ugliest performances I've ever seen from those two offenses. I remember Josh Downs making a diving catch to ice the game from Gardner Minshew, and I remember Country Roads with Isaiah McKenzie returning a kickoff.
That was one of the cooler moments I've experienced in my years of covering pro football. That was awesome.
They played that song at Colts practice yesterday.
Yeah, and I feel like we're going to probably get another taste of that this upcoming Sunday. So, yeah, that game was hideous, terrible. I feel like sometimes the international crowd is subjected to some bad football games, and maybe that's just because of the travel and what it does to your body and your body clock. But nevertheless, the Colts did get a win, and I'm sure they're hoping to go 2-0 in Germany this upcoming week against the Falcons.
Again, Colts and Falcons here in Week 10. Colts about a touchdown favorite in this one. We teased it a little bit earlier, but I want to play this Derrick Henry audio. Again, Miles McLaughlin from Knox, Indiana here up in the northern part of the state. He set the state rushing record, career rushing record, over 11,000 rushing yards, and he is about, I want to say it's 1,100 and change away from Derrick Henry's career, the national high school rushing record. And given the numbers that this kid puts up, there's a chance if Knox makes it all the way to the state championship game, which wouldn't that be a storyline? He's like 250 yards away from it, and that's the 3A state title game of them and, the Fighting Tom Dillies at Guerin Catholic going for it all. I mean, that would be just an awesome, awesome moment there inside of Lucas Oil Stadium. Derrick Henry appearing on Kay Adams' podcast, and she asked him about Miles McLaughlin.
Derrick, have you ever heard of the name Miles McLaughlin?
Yes, I have. That's a kid in Indiana?
Okay, so everyone understands. Miles McLaughlin out of Knox, Indiana High School. He's a running back who is closing in on your rushing record, 1,121 yards away. He needs to average 280 a game the rest of the way to break it. What do you make of his highlights? Let's start there.
Running tough, breaking tackles. He a beast. Go break it, man. That's what records meant. They meant to be broken. I didn't have it for 10 plus years, man. Go get it. Go break the record, man. I hope you win the state championship with it. He's digging too.
It's hard for me to
believe
got number
2 on, so yeah, man. And number 2, go break that record. Go get it.
He follows you on Instagram. We looked this morning. I think it's very, how do you even know who he is?
I get on Instagram and then I get off, and the first thing I saw was a highlight or something from Sports Center about a game he had. So, hey, Kevin, that's cool, man. That's a cool moment, man. I hope he go get set. I hope his team win a state championship and he rides off in the sunset with the record and the championship. That would be cool.
How about that? Good on Derrick Henry.
Respect.
Well, Miles McLaughlin luck. Good on Kay Adams for dialing that up as well.
Yeah, I was looking at, I think Miles' stats from his last game was something crazy. I think he ran the ball over 40 times.
He had 408 rushing yards.
But he averaged like 7 yards a carry. It was like 50. It was crazy. Like, I have to look it up. But yeah.
And I've seen highlights. They are like a
Oh, it's a throwback offense for sure.
Yeah, he's mainly their quarterback. And it's, a bunch of zone read and, power and, reminds me of Riley Leonard on the opening drive against Ohio State or hell, Tebow back in his Florida days. So I thought that was cool. Sectional final coming up tomorrow night. We'll obviously get you set for that. Looks like, I think, a little chillier night, if I'm not mistaken, here around the high school scene coming up. Boy, it looks chilly in Berlin, James. Are you ready here?
Oh, yeah, so I might have to have the long johns on.
Because it's outdoor press box, right?
It is. I remember last time we were over there, I was pretty prepared. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, you are able to, after the game, go inside and finish your story and stuff like that. So I won't be too worried about it.
And you're going suit.
I'm going suit. Got to be clean.
Not bad. That is fresh. You aren't treating us like that in the Lucas Oil Stadium press box.
Y'all ain't nobody.
Man.
I might be going over there, like I said.
You and Bjorn Werner co-hosting a morning show in Germany, it sounds like.
I'm in a documentary now. Treat me as such. Okay.
Now, do you have like the steam cleaner thing to like keep it nice and wrinkle-free?
Nah, you know what? I went and put myself in the cleaners.
He's borrowing Stephen Holders.
I have like a garment bag and all this stuff that I'm a veteran. I got this. And I remember, you know what's crazy? I used the iron in my hotel the last time I was in Germany, and it probably took me 5 minutes to figure out how to use it. Because it was not, it wasn't the old take it, plug it in. And it was
YouTube, how to use the iron.
No, seriously. It was like down the hall. You had to use a key card to get into the room.
What?
And then it was attached to the wall. It was the most bizarre thing ever.
The ironing board under lock and key over there.
Yeah, it was different. So we will see how that all works out. But I feel like if you fold your clothes correctly and all that, once you put them on, people can't tell, like, if you got a couple wrinkles, I mean, no one's looking that hard.
I'll tell that to the international audience.
All y'all got to know is your boy going to be clean, all right?
There's no doubting that. James Boyd off to Germany a little bit later today.
You have a little doubt. I have to YouTube out to tie my tie again.
Colts will have a...
Up, under, what is it? Okay.
Man,
Slow down.
It takes me 5 times at minimum.
You go in the Windsor, the half Windsor? What's
whatever the first YouTube video tells me to do.
Easiest tie knot is what you're
there you go.
What you're searching there. The hope is Sauce Gardner will clear concussion protocol, hopefully before they go to Berlin for our sake, and he'll meet the media here coming up. Potentially.
Someone said I got to go huge suit like LeBron in the 2000s. No, I cannot do that.
What's baggier, the LeBron suit or Robbie Hummel in a Purdue uniform back in the day? You could have fit in Juwan Johnson's shorts, I think, at Purdue back in the day. All right, on the other side, there was an element to the Sauce Gardner trade that was something that Shane Steichen mentioned, certainly, and I thought Kenny Moore in an interesting comment in the Colts locker room yesterday. We'll hit on both of that next. Fan Morning Show here on a Thursday.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Let me some Bulldog and Broad reports where John will be today. We'll continue to get you set for what is a busy, busy weekend around here and overseas, and recapping a lot of night on the basketball court last night here around the States. I must say, listener Greg reached out earlier, and this kind of gets back to what I was saying a little bit earlier about where we're at with the Colts right now. Greg mentioned, Mark, last year, we literally had a multiple week stretch where we did segments where we could only talk positive about the Colts for, like 3-4 minutes?
Yeah.
It was so bad that we had to do the stopwatch, and we had to go 3 straight minutes where we could only say nice things about the Colts.
Enya showed up on my Spotify rap. That's how often we had to play the music, because we'd play that as the music behind it.
And now, after
we don't play it.
2 months of high-quality football from Daniel Jones, the Colts are all chips in.
We might need to play the Enya music for the Pacers at some point.
Is it getting there?
It is early, but yeah, I know. I thought Kenny Moore had an interesting comment yesterday of, what does this mean for you? You think about the veterans in the locker room, like DeForest Buckner, chatting today. I think it'll be interesting to hear from him, James. You see guys around the league that, whatever, they want out after, X amount of years of that team not performing to the level that they'd like to. And Kenny was just kind of asked about like what this trade means to him, a guy that's probably on the back nine of his career and maybe won't get many more shots at it like this. And it was a pretty short, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it was like, if there's ever been the time is now.
Yeah.
Is pretty much what Kenny said.
Yep.
And he said it rather quietly. It wasn't like a boisterous sort of
in his Kenny
statement.
mode.
Yeah, in his very Kenny
fashion.
mode. But those words are, I think, pretty profound. And think about Kenny Moore's career here. He arrived 6 months into the Chris Ballard tenure, and he's been here since. And if you look back on the 9 years now, if there's ever been a time, this is probably it. It's a big swing. It's a big price to send to New York. But if you're ever going to do it, this is the time.
Absolutely. I mean, your last probably real chance that you had or felt like you had was the days of Andrew Luck. The last year you won a playoff game. I believe it was, 2018?
Right, yeah. Won in Houston, then lost at Kansas City that next round.
Yeah, but you felt like, okay, you're building something, and obviously the rug gets pulled out from underneath you. Andrew Luck is no more. And you kind of just been, spinning on this hamster wheel since then. And you look at 2020 with Phillip Rivers, and that was a good year. But even then, I don't know if anybody thought, like, that's a championship window. Whereas everything just feels different about this season because of the amount of success you've had so far, the potency of your offense, how high level they've been for 7 of these 9 games so far. And if you are an older guy in the locker room, as much as they don't want to outwardly admit that has to creep into your brain of how many more years do I have? Are we going to be this healthy? Are we going to, be this fortunate record-wise this early on in the season? Are we going to have some breaks go our way like they have so far? Those are all things that I think factor into how excited you have to be about this opportunity, whether it's Kenny Moore, DeForest Buckner. Zaire Franklin told us flat out, yeah, we know what we got to do now. Now, granted, they all hit us with the cliche of 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time. That's true. But there is no secret to the fact that when you go get Sauce Gardner, you're talking Super Bowl. That's it.
Yeah, period. Again, we laid it out yesterday, but for me, for this trade to ultimately be a win, it is you play in the Super Bowl, your defense becomes a top 5 unit, and Sauce Gardner gets back to being an all-pro. I think those are the 3 layers to it all. What do you think Sauce Gardner's Sunday role looks like?
Hey, go guard Drake London.
So just shadow him every snap, just third down, just red
Pretty
zone?
Pretty much. I mean, they say he's a very smart player. I would have to think so because I don't think you can be a 2-time first-team All-Pro just off pure talent. You got to be able to think the game out. And so perhaps the simplest assignment is do what you do against that guy. Yeah, and we'll figure out the rest later.
Part of me that kind of thought, hey, whatever, line up on the left side. Whenever that X receiver comes over, you got man. Like, just as simple as that. Whoever the X is, you just come over there. Or, to your point, you could do some shadowing there of Drake London. So, again, just remind everybody, Sauce Gardner was a full participant in practice yesterday. I probably noticed, and this is where the injury report gets finicky, I probably noticed maybe a rep or two where he didn't like the tackling of the pad rep, for example. Didn't look like Sauce was participating in that, but by all accounts, wasn't wearing a red non-contact jersey. Should clear concussion protocol and be good to go. Mark, are you vetting girlfriends of Colts players?
So some guy called
Wives,
and he said
significant others.
Yeah, I mean he went in the Wayback Machine. He's like Andre Rison dated a Spice Girl. I'm like, I don't think it was a Spice Girl. It was a member of TLC back in the day.
We're gonna get Lenny Moore's dating history, Raymond Berry's.
Yeah.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. It all counts.
Yeah. They had a tumultuous relationship again after his playing career in the Colts. So I think we're trying to go for current, like together while they were playing with the Colts. I think that should be the caveat, which that eliminates Taraji P. Henson. That would eliminate Lisa Left Eye Lopez of TLC and all that. So at the moment, it seems like it's Ice Spice / Lotto's sister and Kendra Wilkinson.
Shout out to Kendra.
Quite the list.
We can add more. Maybe, Jim Harbaugh dated anybody famous back in the day? I don't know.
So last night, Darren DeVries' debut in Bloomington.
We got to get Daniel Jones' dating history, but go ahead.
All 98 points for the Hoosiers were either a 3, a free throw, or in the paint.
That is modern analytical basketball, baby. Welcome to the 21st century.
Is DeVries the analytical nerd?
I do think he is to a degree, yes. But also, if you look at the players he's brought in, they're able to do the things that he's asking them to do. Like we were screaming all last year about how IU couldn't make any threes, didn't shoot enough threes. They didn't have guys that can make those shots. And this year they do.
Boy, Wilkerson shot one last night from Ellettsville. Hell, it was almost Robbie Hummel's
Also,
lap.
I trust DeVries a little bit more just because his son is actually good. Usually the coach's son is on the team as like a walk-on or some kind of like player type of coach type of dude. His son is a bucket.
And boy, Darren DeVries, I'll tell you what, I don't know if his personality maybe is this, but that man, he is kissing babies and hugging every old lady in Bloomington. I mean,
he better be.
He knows what he's doing. He's shaking hands with the front row last night after the game. I'm like, you don't see that very often. You got to
do that, man. Look, football is rolling. You don't want to be like
you got to say,
the family member that's messing up.
Hey, cook money. Make sure you stay on this side of the parking lot.
Exactly.
And you don't go all over there. Again, Indiana Marquette coming up. That is 1 o'clock on Sunday from up in the United Center. Just to clarify on the DeVries part, I don't think he's full throttle and like we do not take mid-range jumpers, but certainly spoke otherwise last night there. Again, Purdue will have Oakland. That's the Fighting Grade Campies tomorrow. That's up in Mackey before they get their non-conference schedule a little bit more ramped up. And on the Pacers front, we'll talk with Scott Agnes here in a few, but they are out west. Nothing, I believe today is the Pacers and the Thanksgiving dinner they've done over there for years now in Feeding the Homeless. I think this year it's hosted by
Didn't you do this one year with them or
Aaron
something?
E. Smith. Yeah, I did it. It was probably 3 years ago. Tyrese hosted, and I was in between McConnell,
TJ from marketing,
and Jalen Smith. And TJ McConnell literally introduced himself as TJ from marketing to every single person. And Jalen Smith laughed every single time.
I love it.
And every time with Jalen Smith, it was, so what position do you play? And he was friendly, whatever, power forward or he's got the recs, he's got the specs. It's kind of easy to recognize.
Not the height, the specs,
6'9", and then TJ McConnell would say, "Yeah, I'm TJ from marketing. Thanks for coming out." And I laughed a lot. It was very, very funny. So shout out to the Pacers for that. That'll be over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse tonight as they have today off, and then they're all out west here for a 4-game road trip upcoming. All right, much more on that with Scott Agnes, and coming up at 9:30, we will chat with Jason Hammer, lay down some picks here for Thursday Night Football, and he's had a lot of great success lately for us here, so we'll try to keep that going here at 9:30. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, and Mark Dykton, this is the Fan Morning Show.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
9 o'clock hour here on a Thursday. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, and Mark Dykton are with you. Jeff Rickard should be back coming up tomorrow. We got obviously a busy weekend here as the Colts head out to Berlin late tonight. Normal week for them so far, and then they will board a plane for Berlin, have a walkthrough coming up tomorrow, and they'll kick at 9:30 on Sunday. So the Colts are playing in the mornings, and the Pacers are playing late nights. Pacers out west, their first West Coast trip of the year, and they sorely need a W. To talk more about all of it, let's head to the Payless Liquors hotline right now from Fieldhouse Files. He is Scott Agnes. Scott, good morning to you, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys.
How are you?
Doing well.
Scott,
gotta love this time of year, right? When you got so much going on, no matter early or night.
Amen to that. Scott, can you endorse this? I ranted about it earlier, and I was hoping I could get your backing on this. I'm watching the IU game, or I'm thinking I'm watching the IU game last night. It's 8 o'clock. I turned to Big Ten Network, and I see Rutgers and Ryder has got 3 more minutes left in the game. And I'm like, what the hell are we doing? Well, the last thing I want to watch is a bunch of Rutgers walk-ons in the Jersey Mike Arena pulling up from the volleyball line. Why can't Big Ten Network continue to start the Indiana game at 8 o'clock and give me a button in the bottom right-hand corner that says, if you'd like to watch IU versus Alabama A&M, click here?
Interesting. Yeah, you would think in the streaming world that would become available. Certainly not in old school cable. And I think, quite frankly, that's why so many times, I thought you were going on a different rant. That's why oftentimes games are not actually 8 o'clock. They're more like 8:12 p.m. to build in a buffer for situations like that.
What rant did you think I was going on? The tip
because
time?
I could 100% endorse that games do not start at the time they announce. That's been one of my long time.
Which again, you can start IU at 8 o'clock for the 15,000 people, although there probably weren't that many there last night. But for those people in the building, continue to start at 8 o'clock and just give me the option if I'm sticking on the network. So. Yeah, I won't get off my lawn for the whole interview.
Yeah, because otherwise it gets even worse, because if they do start it and you can't watch it, and then sometimes you'll have these games that go into overtime, and it's halftime of the game you actually cared about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Boils my blood.
Yeah, you got Kevin fired up here, Scott. So let's,
I'm just glad he's with me.
I think everyone with a reasonable amount of sports fandom can agree with you there. But Scott, getting back to the main point of the call, the Pacers, they dropped one last night against the previously winless Brooklyn Nets. How soon should we start looking at the draft board and the lottery? And that's kind of where my mind goes after a loss
already?
like that. I'm sorry. Yes, already. I'm dead serious.
Okay. To me, I'm still in the mentality of this as kind of a copycat of last year. Much worse, certainly. But so given that, James, I'm kind of shortly before Christmas. I'm about December 15th, December 20th in my mind right now. It's really about getting through the next couple weeks, but truly the next month, letting them play a little bit, and then you kind of reassess the situation, I think, from there. But right now, the reality is, look, they don't have a true point guard essentially playing. And I think I'd be wondering to ask this, is a team that is so dependent, maybe more than any other team out there, of a point guard, given the way they empower that position. They allow for Tyrese in particular to just run things and get them organized. They don't look organized out there, offensively, defensively. More than anything, though, it's just it's a bunch of guys trying to figure this thing out on the fly, with 2 guys that were signed this week, one that was signed last week, but now Mac McClung doesn't even play, and there's a lot of growing pains. But, James, let's give it a month, I'd say.
Okay, you talked me off the ledge, because I was thinking, Lord have mercy. It just had me sad. I was watching them like, this isn't the Pacers I'm used to. But to your point about point guard relief, where do you find an answer? I think that's, in all seriousness, where some of my doubt comes from. It's like, okay, I believe in Pascal. I believe he might get a little healthier in other areas. But if your point guards keep dropping, how do you realistically sustain anything when you don't know who's going to be running your offense?
That's it. Exactly. You nailed it. 100%. Because it's just the fact that there's no flow, no rhythm. I mean, so many times last night you're watching and it's entry passes or the throw-ahead pass. What they don't get much anymore is that 60-foot pass down the court to capitalize in 3 seconds before the defense is even back. So not only is their strength completely gone, but they're just completely sorely lacking in that spot. Now, I think realistically, you're hoping Nembhard and Benedict Mathurin are getting closer in the next couple of weeks is what you'd like to see, kind of maybe around Thanksgiving. By then, certainly. But even this, consider the fact Ray J. Dennis, a two-way guard, played 5 minutes in the first quarter, and then presumably his low back was bothering him because we didn't see him the rest of the night in a game where he could badly need it. So, James, to your point, there was at least twice, maybe 3 times last night where Isaiah Jackson said, no, I'm good. I'm bringing the ball down. I think that speaks to the issue right there.
To go from what we watched offensively last year to what we have to watch right now, and again, personnel is where it's all driven. It's just, it's amazing, and obviously not in a good way. Scott Agnes, Fieldhouse Files, he's with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Scott, with the medical hardships, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, hell, he was a 6th man last night. Cody Martin is getting minutes for you. Those continue as long as you have whatever it is, 4 guys out for at least 2 weeks. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so it's 4 guys had to miss at least 3 games and then be out for another 2 weeks. So, yeah, the contracts are for 10 days, but as long as the circumstances persist, I would expect for those to continue here.
Let's entertain James's initial thought here for just a second. When you do the math on the NBA season, you're 8 games into 82. It's obviously a very small sample size. And, the thought is obviously Andrew Nembhard and Benedict Mathurin by no means are these season-ending injuries. At what point organizationally do you think they start to even ponder the white flag?
Ponder it? Ooh. Initially, I wanted to say December 1st because by then you're 15 games into the season. You're starting to put 20, 25, and by then you really have a good idea every season of what the potential or not is of this group. So I think it starts to cross your mind more so maybe December 1st, but realistically, I'd say the turn of the new year. KB, I would. You get through the holidays, there's a road trip, you come back, and it's like, all right, we got to start considering the trade deadline and what we should do or not do and have the bigger picture in mind here if it was just not meant to work this year. Because one of the things to the larger picture, KB, I wonder about is the pace in which this Pacers team plays at. It leads to more possessions. It leads to more erratic and movements when considering these injuries and such. They've been playing this style for 2 or 3 years, and so I wonder, did it catch up with them? Or certainly the long season last year, all the way to Game 7, didn't help. That it almost feels like this group needs more than the 3 months that they truly were able to have this offseason.
Scott Agnes joining us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. You can follow his work at Fieldhouse Files. Scott, how do we fix Pascal's free throws? I mean, this is getting to a point where I'm starting to wonder, is something up? Why such a dip in his percentage, especially this year? I mean, 2 for 6 last night. I think on the year he's in the 50% kind of range, 56%, something like that. And it's just alarming. And in all seriousness, do you think he shoots differently at the free throw line than his other shots? I'm looking at this, and I'm fascinated by his form. It looks a little off to me.
I'll need to take a closer look at that. But I would just say that it seems like so many anomalies are happening right now. I would say the same thing for Aaron Nesmith, who was a 90% free throw shooter last season. I think he had a game where he missed 2 this season. Or Ben Shepherd's three-point shooting, which he a little bit corrected last night. That was one of the positives coming out of the game. I just think everything is just so different, so off. That's probably what I would point to in all this is the circumstantial change. And you watch the workload and the usage rate and what is being not even asked, but what Pascal is having to do right now. And he's just exhausted out there from, I think, every different level. Especially last night, it felt like there was constantly times when maybe one of the guys wasn't communicating defensively and somebody slipped behind and got a layup and then it was an and one. And just, I think there's so much on his mind and so much he's being dependent on, and it kind of probably feels like he's on an island sometimes. The way in which being the star player that doesn't have a ton of help right now around him, that there's a lot going on, and it's weighing heavily on him is what it looks like to me more than anything.
A little golf action for Caitlin Clark next week, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a good one. And on top of that, to your point, she's got a couple of teammates going down with her to be caddies. And I don't know how much carrying, quite frankly, Sophie Cunningham will or can do, given that she's still rehabbing from a knee injury. But look, there's some special events I already know of them and things they'll be wearing. And it's all part of what Gamebridge is pushing. They're the presenting sponsor. And last year it was a couple IndyCar drivers, Colton Herta, Marcus Ericsson. So if you're a Fever fan, we don't know the TV coverage just yet, but I'm sure it'll be fun to see them and the joy and fun that they have playing around the course. And it's a group that talks all the time. So it'll be fun to see them, how they act on the golf course when they're just having a good time in the off season.
Two on Caitlin Clark from a basketball standpoint. One, do we know if she's healthy from a 5-on-5 standpoint yet? And then two, what would the offseason look like? Like, we know she's not in the unrivaled 3-on-3 league, but is there any Team USA stuff she'd be doing this offseason?
Yeah, so first of all, no real update, just because no one with the Fever are doing interviews, and obviously Kate knows well, given it's the off season. But she said at her exit interview, the goal was by the end of last month, which is October, was to get and ramp up to 5-on-5 play. But unclear if she's there yet. We'll talk with her next week and hopefully have some kind of update on that front. And then for this off season, yes, the only thing to my knowledge that's on her schedule from a basketball standpoint right now is some sort of USA basketball training camp, which generally is National Week Championship weekend. They also have a camp for some of the best players, so she's expecting to be part of that as well. But the biggest thing, in my opinion, KB, is for her to find some kind of game action. When you haven't played since mid-July, she needs to do more than like a 1-on-1, 3-on-3, like a true up and down games that you can really simulate. So I think that will be important for her, especially as young as she is. Needs to get back after it, but first needs to make sure this foot, the groin, and all the injuries can be in the past so that this is not something we're still talking about next summer.
His work, Fieldhouse Files, where you can find it. He is the pride of North Central. He is Scott Agnes. Scott, thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Payless Liquors hotline right there for Scott Agnes and the Pacers. Nothing today, nothing tomorrow out west. Back-to-back. I want to say Denver is the first and then Golden State. James, you got that schedule right over your shoulder. I want to say Denver is on a back-to-back coming up here, but Golden State maybe is not. So that'll be the back-to-back, and then I think it's Utah and Phoenix. Does that sound right?
You are correct, sir.
That is the 4-game Western trip here for the Pacers. What are our tip times? Are we real late, or are we more in the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock range? Please tell me we're not 10:30.
8, 9, no 10.
Oh, jeez.
I saw they had like an NBA game that tipped to like 11. I might have been like a Lakers game or something. I'm like, all right, I get all these different, avenues that you're putting games on, Peacock and NBC and whatever. No NBA games should be starting at 11 p.m.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Come on now.
That's absurd. I did have to chuckle last night. Again, I joked a little bit earlier, half joking, half serious. I think the voice I hear the most in my living room outside of my kids this time of year and my wife is the voice of Robbie Hummel. He seemingly is calling every single college basketball game that I'm watching. He was on Purdue-Evansville on Tuesday. He was on IU-Alabama A&M last night. And James, there was a local connection on the Alabama A&M team. And as we set up this story of Robbie Hummel showing his age that he didn't know, I guess, you do know the Alabama A&M player, and I know
him very well, actually.
You aren't too surprised by this?
No. Karan Davis, former Bowman Academy star up there in Gary. I believe he's their all-time leading scorer. The kid is wired a bit differently, and he runs hot.
This is great right here. Robbie Hummel, Kevin Kugler last night at the end of the Indiana-Alabama A&M game.
Let's talk about Karan Davis.
All right, let's do it because this is one to remember.
So I walked into the hotel lobby, and Alabama A&M is staying there today. And just from doing the prep, I'd seen that Karan Davis is from Gary, Indiana. I'm from Valparaiso. It's probably about 35 minutes away. So I saw him sitting there, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go introduce myself because people in the region stick together. So I go up to I said, Karan, where'd you go to high school? And he said, I went to Bowman Academy, which is a school in Gary. I said, oh, that's awesome. I went to Valparaiso. I'm Robbie Hummel. I introduced myself. And he goes, oh, great to meet you. Are you reffing the game tonight? And I literally was like, my God, I am so old. And I was like, no, I played. Did you? I was rattled for sure. And I asked him if he played for SYF because that was my AU team. He goes, yeah, I played for SYF. And he just, yeah, it hurt my soul. But you know what? It was good for me. I needed it.
I'm guessing that was a first, though?
Yeah, I've never been asked, are you reffing the game tonight? Yeah, that was a first, yes. Just means one thing.
Very good last night.
My initial interpretation of you teasing that clip was an interaction they had like in the game where he got mad at Hummel or something and said, hey, during the game, hey, are you reffing tonight? That's why I said he does run hot. The kid is funny. But from that aspect, it also is very Karan Davis because – as I've learned, and I want to say it might have even been his high school coach that told me this, no high school athletes, no young athletes care about what happened yesterday. He was like, I could tell you I've been around the world. I played in professional leagues. I've won championships. And the kids are like, if it didn't happen yesterday, I don't care.
And again, to be fair to Karan, he's 20 years old. Robbie is a year older than me, so Robbie's 37. Yeah. So obviously he wasn't watching those.
Robbie should have been like, I'm going to learn you something today. I'm going to learn you something.
He was a baby when the baby boilers were doing their thing in West Lafayette.
I'm probably going to text Karan after this and certainly give him some grief for that.
But that was a great moment.
Because if you're a basketball dude, man, you got to know. Got to know Robbie Hummel.
Especially in the region.
Come on, man.
I mean, obviously,
I'll get on him.
Hummel from Valpo, so funny moment there. Shout out to Scott Martin, by the way.
What a tall ref.
Speaking of Valpo, very tall ref. Scott Martin on the Notre Dame radio calls, and I was listening to them. By the way, did I hear some media members talking Notre Dame basketball yesterday in the Colts media room?
Boy, y'all should have seen this, man. Okay, so first of all, me and Kevin sit on the same row in the Colts media room, and every now and then I'll say something to him, yo, KB, blah, blah. He will not hear me. The earbuds are in. He's working, doing his thing. 107.5 The Fan. I get it. He's probably the fastest writer on our beat. I understand. But then all of a sudden, he hears everything as soon as there's a little inkling of Notre Dame men's basketball being mentioned in the back of the room. The man's head snapped. And then he starts rattling off names and stats and matchups. And I'm like, so you can hear.
Shout out Ross Bolin. Shout out Andrew Chernoff. Shout out Dominic Miranda.
Don't shout them out too much. They left you out.
They did leave me out, but all of a sudden I heard them dropping Notre Dame basketball, and I'll tell you what, I thought Kendra Wilkinson had just walked into the Colts media room. My head did snap. Yep, I was over there looking in that direction. Notre Dame Detroit, by the way, upcoming tomorrow night. Big one for.
That was a classic. Oh, if you can you can hear.
Coach Drew. A selective hearing.
Oh, yeah. I have it too.
In my 13 years in that Colts media room, I don't think anyone's ever talked Notre Dame basketball. So it was quite refreshing to hear that.
Yeah, when they mentioned Marcus Burden, the man got up and sit on the table and took his shirt off.
We'll see if we hear it from Sauce Gardner later today.
Colson!
Again, concussion protocol does not allow for
We're winning the whole thing.
Players to meet the media, but Sauce did participate yesterday fully in Colts practice, and the expectation, hope is, could chat with the media coming up later today before they play in Berlin, and if he passes that protocol, the expectation is he will make his Colts debut coming up in the Olympic Stadium on Sunday morning. Much more on this morning checkdown, Mark Dykton.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
James, I feel like that kind of covers everything Colts-wise. I guess logistically, some people do care about the travel. Will you kind of lay out for the Colts what tonight looks like and then tomorrow in Germany?
Yeah, it's pretty normal for them. Normal schedule of practice. They will leave at about 8 p.m. tonight, fly directly over there to Berlin. And when they get off the plane, they'll have a couple of hours to, kind of stretch out before they go through a walkthrough. Friday, they will not go through a full-blown practice like they would normally on a Friday because of just the travel and the effect on your body. Don't want anybody out there getting any soft tissue injuries. And then You know, I believe they have like a lot of meetings and things like that. They barely get any freedom when they're overseas. You know, they don't get like time Saturday to go sightseeing.
Not even Saturday morning?
Not really. I mean, talking to some of the players, I believe they said like last time they were over there, they maybe got like an hour to themselves. But yeah, for the most part, the guys are trying to keep the same routine and get ready for Sunday.
First ever NFL game in Berlin. It is, I believe, the 36-year anniversary of the falling of the Berlin Wall. So I don't think you'll get an acknowledgement about that coming up on your telecast. Again, our airwaves, of course, will have you 9:30 kick time. Shout out to the Raskeller, I believe, having a watch party over there if people would like to venture out over to one of the great establishments here in Indy. But from a TV viewing standpoint, yes, it is NFL Network, locally Fox 59 here coming up on Sunday morning. All right, last night inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse, I think it was a bad loss for the Indiana Pacers, especially when Cam Thomas leaves that game early. I would argue the Pacers probably had more talent than the Nets the rest of the way, but they lose 112-103. Rick Carlisle gets the heave-ho. Mark Dykton, was there any audio from Rick Carlisle on that last night?
It was time to, get the out of there.
Just to clarify, that was not from last night. That was Rick Carlisle describing what happens when he gets tossed from a game and then he ventures down to the bowels of Gainbridge Fieldhouse and he watches the game the rest of the way. He got tossed very early in the third quarter last night there, and he was adamant he's taking full blame right now for where the Pacers are at. I would argue the personnel isn't ideal, but 1-7, and they lose to the Brooklyn Nets. Any positives you point to last night? Do you go Jay Huff at all? Do you go Ben Shepherd at all?
Yeah, I would say Jay Huff. I'm waiting for him to have kind of a game and say, hey, I am here, by the way, and I thought that he gave him some really good minutes last night.
Again, it'll be Golden State and Denver in a back-to-back coming up this weekend. 4-game Western trip for the 1-7 Indiana Pacers. College basketball last night, the Darren DeVries era. They've got shooters galore on the floor. They shot it very well last night, over 40% from three. They made all their free throws. When's the last time you could say that? 23 assists, so plenty of sharing as well. Lamar Wilkerson, that man will let it fly. 19 for him. Reed Bailey, the transfer from Davidson, at 21 off the bench. Florida transfer Sam Alexis, 17 and 8 for him. And Thad Matta and the Butler Bulldogs rolled Southern Indiana yesterday, 88-58 over there at Hinkle. Started the game 15-0. One thing to note about Butler, I think it's encouraging for last night, Finley Bizjack, who had been their leading scorers in the exhibition games, he really didn't do a whole lot scoring-wise, and yet Butler still built that lead, scored 88 points. Michael Ajayi, transfer from Gonzaga, very, very good for Butler last night. He has got a grown man's body to him and some real potential. It's definitely going to be needed in a big way for Butler this season. Purdue and Oakland coming up tomorrow. That is Greg Campy, 7 o'clock. Go ahead and cue up the old Peacock sound for that one as Purdue will play their second game. I think Oakland picked the finish fairly high in the Horizon League. Only other items I was going to mention, again, setting you up, Jason Hammer will join us here in 5. We've got Thursday Night Football, Denver and Las Vegas. If you're a Colts fan, you want the Raiders to pull off that upset. And college football this weekend, Indiana about a 2-touchdown favorite over Penn State. They never won in Happy Valley. We'll see if they can get that done. Purdue is a massive underdog at home against the number 1 team in the land, Ohio State and Notre Dame. They've got the Naval Academy in South Bend on Saturday night.
Rooting against our Navy over the weekend, are you, Kev?
Against your country?
Yeah.
Which protects you?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Disgusting.
Wow.
I mean, what can I say? There's no answer I can say after that.
Disgusting.
You guys just literally just bullied me into the corner.
I'm just saying, man. Some people like having, freedoms and rights.
Yep. No, some might say football means more than anything.
Well, in the SEC, they would argue that for sure. Poisoning trees.
That is certainly the
they
truth.
They will
there.
die.
They don't even care about breathing.
Honestly, maybe Maction means more than anything. Shout out to Ball State. Chirp, chirp, Mike Uramovich and company. Big ol' 4th and 2 last night to Cameron Anthony from HSC, rumbling down the sideline.
The Fighting Evan Sherrills.
Fighting Evan Sherrills get it done. 17-13, 4-0 at home for the first time since 2013 as Ball State tries to get bowl eligible this season. All right, we'll get you set. We got picks. Jason Hammer's been outstanding here as of late. He's made us some money. We'll try to do that again coming up tonight.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
So, Mark Dykton, our re-entries today, they have revolved the women in the life of Sauce Gardner and Germany.
Yeah, and this one is by none other than David Hasselhoff, because our next guest, when I think of David Hasselhoff, I think Jason Hammer.
Germans love David Hasselhoff, man. Germans love David Hasselhoff.
And boy, I'll tell you what, Jason Hammer, you have made us some money lately, brother.
I also think of him as David Hasselhoff because David Hasselhoff famously drunk and eating pizza. I imagine that is what Hammer will be during this Thursday night stinker we have tonight.
Well, and the women around David Hasselhoff, I'm sure the women around Jason Hammer, right?
Well, you would think.
Yes.
You would think.
You would think.
But actually, nobody would think that. But as long as my wife is, that's the bottom line.
Amen. Yes.
Hasselhoff question, though, before we get into what we're actually talking about here. Is he best known for Baywatch, or is he best known for Michael Knight and Knight Rider?
Baywatch for me.
I think it's got to be Baywatch.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you polled like America, they would say Baywatch.
Knight Rider didn't have Pamela Anderson.
Knight Rider
I know. It's probably more of the association of who he was with, Baywatch-wise.
True.
Fair.
But I feel like usually when you get your name out there first, that's what sticks, right? Knight Rider really put him on the map.
That's
other
fair.
than his crappy music. But yeah, that's a good question. If you did a Family Feud style survey on Monument Circle and asked 100 people, name something David Hasselhoff is famous for, will you have more people say Knight Rider or Baywatch?
I think they're going Baywatch.
I'm going to stand by Baywatch. Again, association, similar to us having you in studio every Thursday. We're fortunate to be associated with you. We are very happy about some wins, and I feel like you hit, and I don't think you've been in studio for a couple weeks now. Jonathan Taylor, you hit a few weeks back. I wanted to make sure we acknowledge that. That was a 3-touchdown plus 800 bet, you said. How about Pacers opening night when you gave us Benedict Mathurin first 3-pointer? Hammer, you've been excellent.
We needed that. We had a slow start to this year, right? We had a slow start, but water finds its level. Any gambler's going to tell you, you're never that high, you're never that low. Water finds its level.
You're only as good as your last bet, right?
And, man, I'm telling you guys right now, you're not going to like tonight's place.
Oh, jeez. Boy, I'd set you up for that, and you go there.
No, you did.
You're already giving us bad juju.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so we got Broncos-Raiders. Colts fans are going to want the Raiders. We're already looking at standings. You want to get the 1 seed. Again, only one team gets the bye with the expanded playoffs here. So 8.5-point underdog, the Raiders. Are you going like under on this? Or are you going?
So I have this list of things that I wanted to talk about and stats and numbers. The very first 2 words, and look at this, Raiders stink. That's what I wrote down on my little piece of notebook paper. Raiders stink. They just traded one of their best players. They can't stop anybody. But on the other hand, you've got Denver playing their 3rd game in 11 days. It's a short week. So what I mean by you guys aren't going to like this, nobody ever likes to play the under. The under stinks. But I feel like under 43 is kind of where I'm going to live at tonight. 7 of the Raiders' last 8 road games against the AFC West have gone to the under. And with the whole water finding its level thing, see, I'm going to bring it back full circle here. There's been a lot of overs on Thursday this year. Historically, Thursday nights are unders.
Right.
From the beginning of the Thursday night broadcast, it's been about 60% unders with the exception of this year. So we need that water to find its level tonight. And divisional matchup, I think if the Broncos get a lead, they start mailing it in. We're going under 43 tonight. That's the play.
Okay, that is the voice of Jason Hammer, Degenerates Next Door. We can find his twice-a-week podcast covering college football and the NFL as well. Okay, anything individually you like tonight?
So I always try to find somebody on each team, right? So that way we always have action when we're watching the game. Here's another under that stinks. Ashton Genty, under 55.5 rushing yards here. Boy, I know his team's not very good, but has he lived up to number 6 pick in the draft? Can anybody say Ashton Genty is
unless he's playing the Bears? No,
the number 6 pick in the draft. I think Denver's probably going to have a lead in this one. When you have a lead, you abandon the run, and I don't know if he gets there unless he breaks off a long one. If he breaks off a long one, we're in trouble, but we're in trouble for watching this game anyway. So under 55.5 rushing yards for Genty, and on the other side, we do have one over. Cortland Sutton, over 55.5 receiving yards tonight. He's averaging about 74 receiving yards at home during home games in Denver. Last time he played the Raiders, week 12 last year, 10 targets, 8 catches, 97 yards. Raiders stink at defending the pass. They're giving up 165 yards per game to wide receivers. Somebody's going to have to catch a pass, and this is a pretty workable number, over 55.5 with Sutton tonight.
You jotting all that down, KB? This is pamper money. Okay?
All of it. We got diapers for a month after all this.
Just making sure.
Jotted it all down, but this feels like I want to stab my eyes.
I don't like it any more than you guys do.
But hey, money's money.
Hammer, how do we feel about the Colts matchup overseas?
So I think the Colts win. I feel like Atlanta hangs around, though, right? That's a pretty big number for an overseas
6.5, by the way.
Neutral site game, right? I'm not touching the spread. Gun to my head, I would take Atlanta with the points. Still think the Colts win, but I think Atlanta sticks around. 2 prop bets, though, that I'm looking at. Tyler Warren, over 45.5 receiving yards. Falcons are 24th defensively against tight ends. They don't give up a lot of touchdowns, but they give up some yards. So over 45.5 with Tyler Warren. And how about some Danny Dimes here? Over 21.5 completions. 3 of his last 4 games, we've hit that. And the 1 week he didn't, we got beat by the hook.
So Atlanta's top pass defense doesn't worry you at all?
I think it's dink and dunk. It's not like we're throwing 21 receptions down the field.
Yeah, he didn't say anything about yards.
Sure.
Just completion.
Just completions.
I don't know. You'd have to find this offshore, which, call up Coach Billups for this. But James Boyd, we saw them throw a pass earlier this season to the left tackle. And where does the left tackle hail from?
Wait, you talking about
the Colts? We saw them.
Central Michigan. Well, he hails from Austria, but.
Could they dial up a touchdown to Bernard Reimann in the game in Germany?
Oh.
That's a bit on the nose, Kevin. I don't know.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Could you imagine the odds you could get on that? Again, there's no way our books have that. But
if you're going to do it, go big. First touchdown, Reimann.
That would be crazy.
If Shane Steichen wants to get that international fan base rocking.
Hey, I said pamper money, not retirement money, okay?
That is certainly true. Anything else college slate-wise? Indiana going for their first win in Happy Valley. Not a great, I think, college football slate. Big 12 action from a game day standpoint.
Dude, the college slate stinks when certain teams are bad. Like the last 2 weeks, Penn State being garbage has ruined the schedule.
Yeah, because you had the Ohio State hype with them. Yeah.
Right. And now here's Indiana, and LSU is another one. Normally the LSU-Alabama game is the signature game on this week's schedule, but because LSU stinks, now we're looking at like BYU and Texas Tech as the signature game. I'll lay the 14.5 with the Fighting Cignettis. Cignetti is one of those dudes where he just doesn't care. Does not care. If he can run it up, he will absolutely do it. Style points matter. 0 apologies. 0 blanks given. Backup quarterback. I think it's one of those deals where Penn State may hang around early because they still have some dudes defensively, right? There's a lot of 5-star, 4-star dudes defensively, but man, throughout 4 quarters, I think Cignetti covers that thing by more than 2 touchdowns.
Okay, coming up again tonight, it is a gouge your eyes night here with Thursday Night Football. But
is Bo Nix any good? You guys are the ones that talk about this for a living. Is
I
Bo
don't think
Nix
so.
any good?
I think that he is the product of Sean Payton and a very good defense.
Yeah. I think, honestly, if you're the Colts, you wouldn't mind seeing a rematch with Denver just because of Knicks. Frankly, I get their defense is pretty darn good, but still. Okay, under 43, that's what we're going with. Our big one, Ashton Genty, the under on his rushing yards. And Cortland Sutton, we're taking the over on those receiving
They got
yards.
the same total that I saw in my sports book at 55.5. So just remember that number. We need Genty under. We need Sutton over.
That is Jason Hammer, Degenerates Next Door. And, of course, Hammer and Nigel every afternoon on our sister station, WIBC. Hammer, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We'll do it one final time here. Fan Morning Show.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Off to Germany, James Boyd later today. The Colts as well. 8 o'clock tonight. They will board a plane to Berlin, take on the Falcons coming up. So normal practice today, just like yesterday for the Colts. They'll have a walkthrough tomorrow overseas.
Guten Tag.
Yes, there you go. You're all over it. Did want to make sure we mentioned this. Just an awful, awful story here, courtesy of the Dallas Cowboys. Second-year defensive end Marshawn Neeland, hope I'm saying that last name right, passed away. I don't know the exact date, if it was this morning or last night or what, but his agent announced this at the age of 24. Played for the Cowboys for 2 years, second-round pick a couple years ago out of Western Michigan. The Cowboys are currently on their bye week, so no details yet. Typically in the bye week, James, and I think it'll be the same boat for the Colts next week, particularly with the overseas game. Outside of maybe a Monday appearance at the complex, you usually get away. Like you usually go to wherever home is or vacation, or it's turned into a true week off for players. So I assume when the Colts land from Berlin, again, maybe that Monday they'll come in and have treatment and maybe one meeting or two, but for a lot of guys, it is a full week off. And, for those that don't spend their homes, here in Indy, they obviously have their homes elsewhere. So, again, no details yet from this, but just awful, awful news.
Yeah. Condolences to his family. I know the agent mentioned just how much he appreciated the way his client fought and scrapped and clawed his way to the NFL. And, yeah, I mean, Marshawn, it's tough to – I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I knew the guy or I knew his story all that well, but anytime you lose somebody that young, and he just scored a touchdown Sunday on a blocked punt, recovery in the end zone. Yeah, saw the highlight as I'm watching on my phone right now. Yeah, just scored a touchdown, and a few days later he's gone. So I'm sure some more details will come out at a later time, but for now, just prayers up for his family, because as we all know, we've dealt with death and things like that. It's life-altering.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm trying to think. The Colts, Bernard Ryman was Central Michigan, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to think. I feel like the Colts, Joe Wright's played at Western Michigan back in the day. The Colts typically, I feel like, have some, but nobody immediately comes to mind on that. Again, we'll be back up there at West 56th Street here today. Sauce Gardner, if he clears concussion protocol, should meet the media later this morning, so that'll probably be the big thing to keep an eye out for. Anything on the injury report, James? DeForest Buckner's neck, or do you just say, hey, it's DeForest Buckner, who cares?
Here's DeForest Buckner. Until he doesn't play, he's playing. That's kind of how I view him and his career. He's one of the toughest guys in the locker room, and I don't say that as a cliche. Every year, off the record, he tells us that he, probably should have had a couple surgeries and just played through it. So, in this case, the neck does kind of bother me because, neck, spine, those types of things. You want to make sure you're healthy and safe there. But I do trust his judgment. He's a veteran guy, and obviously they wouldn't put him out here if he is going to risk something that's very severe.
One thing to note on the Falcons, they will be on their third kicker of the season coming up on Sunday. Zane Gonzalez is who they're returning to. They lost to the Patriots by 1. Parker Romo, their kicker last week, missed an extra point late in that game. Mark, their original kicker, Young Wei-Koo or Young Ho-Koo?
I always like the way you pronounce it, but it's Young Wei-Koo.
It's not Young Ho?
No.
He says this every time.
No.
Okay. I was curious if the Colts would bring him in, but they went with Michael Badgley, slightly different than Young Ho-Koo here. Has Young Ho been picked up anywhere?
Young Wei.
That's a tricky question you're asking.
Don't believe so.
Whoa.
You guys
Mark, nothing ever gets past you, brother.
You guys are out tomorrow, so should we get your picks for Colts Falcons?
Sure.
Should we do that?
Yeah. James, I'll go first. I'll go again, I'll say what I said earlier. 3-5 Falcons team with one of the worst point differentials in the NFC. There's a lot to point to if Colts just roll. And they're a touchdown favorite, which is pretty notable in a neutral field. I'm going to go Colts 30-27. I do think Atlanta's skill worries me a little bit. Drake London, Bijan Robinson, even a little bit of Kyle Pitts. Now they're dealing with some interior offensive line injuries, so you'd assume a healthy Buckner could make things difficult for Michael Penix. And despite having 6 sacks of Drake May last week, Atlanta still gave up 24 points. So I will go Colts 30-27.
I will go Colts 27-21. Sauce Gardner game-winning pick as Ice Spice blares over the stadium speakers.
Is Ice Spice the halftime show on Sunday?
Can she get to Berlin by then? I think she can make it.
You do get legit halftime shows, right, in the international games? Didn't they do something in Frankfurt?
I can't remember the last one. I feel like there's just so much going on that I'm like sensory overload for a few hours. But
Bjorn Werner dancing on stage.
Yeah, he's a rock star over there. He is Pat McAfee-esque in that area of the world. And so I would say, seriously, 27-21, I think this is a game where, you invested in your defense and they're going to show up perhaps in that fourth quarter.
So again, 9:30 coming up on Sunday. Jason Hammer did mention a couple of individual props from a Daniel Jones over completions, 21.5. Tyler Warren, 45.5 yards. Yeah, Warren, we haven't really talked about that all week long. 5 catches, what was it, like 26 yards against the Steelers? They really did a very nice job from a dink-and-dunk standpoint. For those that care, Raheem Morris, the Falcons head coach, I think it's fair to say he was probably the runner-up to Shane Steichen here in Indy, so it's kind of a interesting storyline for this one.
Certainly. I think, honestly, again, international games are weird. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like super low scoring or super high scoring. Bottom line is, like I said earlier throughout the show, you want to try to get a win, get back on track, and, just squash some of the detractors and doubters who inevitably are saying, you're fraudulent.
And, James, your route to Berlin for those that care out there?
I will be flying from Indianapolis, the best airport in America as far as I'm concerned. I get out of that thing very easily. So, yeah, Indianapolis to Newark, Newark to Brussels, Brussels to Berlin.
And the passport?
Is in the book bag already.
See you in Berlin. Auf Wiedersehen.
Oh, look at that.
Kenny Moore sending you off.
There he is.
Nicely done there. I would literally hold on to that passport the rest of the day.
I would.
No, I'm serious.
Literally, like in my hands.
Yeah, it's coming with. I always think, in all seriousness, when I take a trip, there's something you might forget, but I always have like the list of like 7 things you cannot forget, which is like ID, passport. If you forget an extra pair of socks, whoop-de-doo, you're fine.
Phone, wallet, keys.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Phone charger, toothbrush.
But James got one of the biggest keys. You've got the charger adapter. You've got the plug-in adapter.
I got the plug.
That is one of the
plug got the plug.
One of the most important things you can get, and he's ready to go on that. All right, from a Thursday night viewing standpoint, again, you got Thursday night football. Nothing for local hoops, really. Purdue back in action coming up tomorrow. Pacers Saturday and Sunday. Mark Dykton and Jeff Rickard should have you not only tomorrow, but also on Monday.
Look at you guys just taking time off. So, yeah, I slide over. So.
Well, obviously, the reason I'm taking off is a little more important than KB.
Shout out to my incredible wife, Maddie Bowen. She's been absolutely amazing and a rock star throughout this pregnancy, and hopefully everything goes as smooth as possible coming up this week.
Kevin's biggest concern is, can I get the Notre Dame basketball game on in the hospital?
Boy,
Mark,
don't you turn that game on. I don't want you to come back with a black eye.
Mark, you know me too well. You know me too well. See you guys.
See you in Berlin. Auf Wiedersehen.